We are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Tonight we have the milkmaid, Virginia Roots is here, and Susanna. Unfortunately, our special guest had a scheduling conflict, and she is going to be unable to make it with us tonight. Something came up unexpectedly, and I received a message a couple hours ago, and she's not going to be able to be here. So what we're going to do, since we already have the stuff to raw pack the chicken, is we're going to go ahead and do it anyway. We're just going to follow the guidelines from the National Center for Home Food Preservation, which is a website that all you guys can just look up, and it pretty much tells you everything you need to know about canning. You can like start day one, never having canned before, and follow their instructions, and it'll turn out all right. So that is what we are going to do. And let's see, milkmaid, I think she's processing hers in pints. I'm doing quarts, but I'm only doing 4 chicken breasts because that's all I had in the freezer. And because I already have like 350 pounds of chicken already put up. So I'm just going to do the 4 breasts that I have. And the rest of the canner, I'm going to fill up with jars of cranberry beans like we did the first time. So I've still got several pounds of those left to put up. So I figured I'd go ahead and fill up 3 or 4 jars of those and process them right along with the meat because the processing time is the same. So 2 birds, 1 stone, that kind of thing. Oh, there's Emily. Nice. Welcome to the show, Em. There's the Lazarix. Yeah, for those of you in the chat that missed it, Lisa from Suttons Daze had a scheduling conflict. Something came up last minute, and she is not going to be able to join us tonight, unfortunately. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue on the mission. We're going to go by the canning recommendations from the National Center for Home Food Preservation, which is a website that all of you guys should check out. It's pretty cool. And we're just going to go by their instructions for raw packing chicken, bone in or bone out, it doesn't matter, and go from there. And so we're just gonna make this thing happen. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it here with us tonight, which really sucks, but you know, we will push through. Does anybody have any questions before we start? I've got plenty of room up here on the panel if anybody else wants to pop up here with us. Sandra, you coming up?
Come on.
We got plenty of room. Hey, Tasha. Hey, Alicia. Yeah. Sheila, yes, cranberry beans are the best. G2, hello. How are you doing tonight? Welcome to the show. Dean Mullins, nice. Survival Julia, hello. Kim's Farmette, hello. Farmer's Son Prepping, hello. What's going on? Who else did I miss? Let's see. Lazarix, you're here. You guys are more than welcome to hop up here on the panel and can something with us. You got plenty of time. I'm doing chicken and beans. Mrs. Monty's here. Bug Dude's always here.
Of course.
Like literally, Bug Dude is like a robot. I'm pretty sure he's some kind of computer program because if you could go on to like 6 different windows right now, he's in everybody's room at all times. Bug Dude's like always there.
He's
Jennifer
a funny
Wilson.
guy.
Awesome, Jennifer. As soon as you get your pressure canner, hook up with us on Saturday and we will can some stuff.
Y'all don't be shy. Come on up.
Absolutely. If anybody wants to come, I'll post a link.
And I'm behind, so you know. I haven't even washed my jars.
Even if you just want to come up and hang out and chat while we're doing our thing. Awesome, Sandra. We appreciate the support. She says she's not able to can tonight, but she's here supporting her fellow Canimals.
She is a fellow Canimal. Yeah, she's here every week.
Okay, it looks like, let's see, Virginia's doing, what do you got, thighs and legs there? All right, she's doing thighs and legs. Milkmaid, what are you doing?
I scored a heck of a deal on thighs today. It was like they're bone in, skin on, so we're going to see how that works. But they were 90 cents a pound, one of those miniature special things.
Nice.
Yeah.
Susanna, what do you got going on?
I have a chicken thighs. I was going to do boneless, but I ended up getting the bone in, so I'll just do that. And I'm only doing a few cans of that. I might do some beans too. since I probably have room.
Yeah.
Hey, Susanna,
I'm
we're
just
the
going to
same
fill
thing.
up. Yeah, we're all pretty much the same thing. So, all right. Hi, guys. Made Susanna, Emily, and Virginia. Sherry Lee, hello. Patricia Skubish. Nice. Welcome to the show. JH556. I am loving the Punisher skull with the red bow. Digging it. All right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pull up the National Center for Home Food Preservation website. And
Hey, guys, let me know if this noise is too much, and I'll just mute me, okay?
you're fine.
All right.
You're golden.
Golden.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm on the website. General information. We are canning. Where did my thing go? Poultry, red meats, and seafoods. Scroll down to chicken or rabbit. And we are. Now, the style of packing that hot and raw, let's see, hot and raw, at 1,000 pounds of 1,000 feet of elevation, 10 psi, hot and raw pack. Pints are 75 minutes, quarts are 90 minutes. With bones, here you go, ladies, important. With the bones, it's hot and raw. Pints are 65 minutes and quarts are 75 minutes. So it's actually faster with the bones.
Okay.
Really? That's strange. Maybe because you can't pack as much in?
I think it's because of the bones are kind of like hollow. Maybe it allows it to process a little bit faster because maybe it kind of heats from the inside as well. I don't know. It's a good question though. But yeah, so if you're doing it with bones and you're doing pints, you've only got to go 65 minutes. If you're doing quarts, it's 75 minutes. I am doing quarts, but with no bones. So I'm going to go 90 minutes, which is the processing time for the beans. So it works out perfectly. So I'm going to go ahead and get my jar filled up. Let me see.
Quick question.
What you got?
Did it say anything about skins? Leave the skin on, leave the skin off, or no comment whatsoever from them?
Yes, it does. It says procedure. Let's see. Choose freshly killed, dressed, healthy animals. Large chickens are more flavorful than fryers. Dressed chickens should be chilled for 6 to 12 hours before canning. Dressed rabbits should be soaked 1 hour in water containing 1 tablespoon of salt per quart and then rinsed. Remove the excess fat. Cut the chicken or rabbit into suitable sized parts for fitting into your jars, leaving required headspace. Can with or without bones. The hot pack is preferred for best liquid cover and quality during storage. Natural poultry fat and juices are usually not enough to cover the meat in raw packs. All right, you hot packing it or raw packing it? We're raw packing. Add 1 tablespoon of salt per quart if desired. Fill jars loosely with raw meat pieces, leaving 1.25 inches headspace. Do not add. Yep, it does not say anything about removing any skin. You just want to remove any excess fat. If you got like fat that's hanging off, you can nip that off. But you want to leave the skin because that's what's going to that's basically what's going to help produce the chicken broth. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, skins are the best, man.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the fat, but I'll put that in stock.
Yep, even Lazarus says so. Lazarus said, leaves the skin on. Always leave the skin on. All right, I'm going to start processing my stuff. Hey, what's going on, Disabled?
Pretty good.
How you
How
doing?
about yourself? I'm so. I thought y'all.
We can barely hear you there, Disabled.
Wait a minute. I thought y'all was doing bacon tonight.
That's next week.
I found that out.
Yeah, Jess is going to be here with us next week, and she's going to do that.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to start my jars filled up.
Well, now, since I'm on here not doing nothing, am I taking up somebody's airtime?
Say again?
Okay, since how I'm not on here doing nothing, would I be taking up somebody else's airtime?
Nope.
I don't think
No,
so.
he's good.
No, I got
Yeah,
room for 10
don't
people
figure.
up here, so I got room for
Okay.
10 people. So, and
All right.
yeah, we had a whole bunch of people that were actually canning along with us. We'd rotate through and give everybody a chance, but for now you're good.
Okay. Well, I'm going to click off my picture.
Yeah, Debbie Sims, she had a scheduling conflict and had to cancel. She apologized, but she's not going to be able to be with us today. So we are using the recipe from the National Center for Home Food Preservation. Hello, Miss Ladrick. How are you?
Oh my gosh, look at me. Hey.
I'm gonna put the Miss Lazarick here in charge of the chat and fielding questions. Her and Emily can yip yap back and forth while I'm gonna fill up my stuff.
All right. Hey, everybody.
Hey, Lee.
Hi.
Good morning, Lee.
I love bone-in thighs and legs. That's the way to do it, guys. My favorite.
I see Virginia Roots is already ahead of people.
She's always ahead.
All right, let me look in the chat here.
I'll be
Hey,
right here,
everybody.
Lee.
Good morning, Miss Lee.
Hey, Emily.
I'm also
We disabled. I'm gonna call you Jeff if that's okay, because that's how I remember you.
That's fine. I got no problem.
Good to see you today.
What? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold on. Here I am.
Good to see you.
Well, same here. Same here.
I look a mess. I was outside working.
Hey, Lee,
Now,
Yeah.
you done bone-in, skin-on thighs before?
My favorite way.
Yeah, I got a question because you're supposed to cut it up to certain sizes, right? I've never done chicken before. I've done a lot of other kinds of meat, but not chicken. Do you just throw the whole thigh in, or do you have to kind of cut it up?
If it's got bone in it, I just throw the whole thing in the jar.
That's what I just did.
Yep.
Okay.
It comes out so good. I'm telling you, when you go to cook it out of the jar later. Oh my God.
I bet. Well, I love the bone-in because you get all the minerals. And
Oh yeah, it is so good. And what I added was some, I seasoned it with my Lowry's chicken rub. I seasoned all the chicken.
Really?
Yep. And then I just put them in the jars, and it makes its own broth in there.
Might have to throw a little something in with it. And
I add a little bit. I add about this much water with some Knorr's seasoning, like to make a broth. But I don't add a lot because it does make its own broth in the jar.
right.
Yep.
so in other words, don't add no chicken broth or nothing like that. A lot of it.
No, just about that much I put in there. That way, in case it doesn't make a whole lot of its own broth, it brings it up a little bit.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Now, when you doing, let's say, a pint or a quart jar, do you put all breast or all thighs or all legs, or can you mix it?
I've mixed my thighs and my legs. I did them in a 1.5 pint jar, and I mixed them together. I put 2 thighs and 2 legs in there. And
Okay.
but I've done it all one kind in one jar as well, too. I do it both ways.
Well, now, if you do a 1.5 pint jar, how long do you have to let it pressure cook?
You want to let it pressure cook the same amount of time as a quart jar.
90 minutes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, at some point, maybe we can add the whole like disclaimer thing that this is for entertainment purposes only. Blah 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 blah. The only advice you should take is from the whole little approved thing.
Thanks.
And when
Bill.
you're doing the legs, you want to put the big side down, and then the next one you want to put the big side up so they fit better in the jar.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
But for drums,
Yep.
now so I got
And
these thighs. Lee, you're gonna be proud of me. I got these for 90 cents a pound.
90?
90.
Oh my God.
what chicken truck did you rob?
Huh?
What chicken truck did you rob?
I just went to Food Line. I was like, man, I'm gonna have to pay full price because I didn't prepare ahead and get chicken. And I walked in, and there was like 25 pounds of chicken thighs on a manager special for 90 cents a pound.
Oh my God.
That snatched those babies up.
What state do you live in?
Virginia.
Shit, I'm right below you.
I love Food Lion. When I lived in North Carolina, I loved Food Lion.
Yeah, I used to work at Food Lion.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. In Virginia.
Oh, that's right. You were in here.
The whole chicken breast.
Virginia roots.
Oh, you got the whole one in there?
Two.
Oh, I gotta go get
Two whole
some.
chicken breasts in a quart jar.
Wow.
I didn't cut
Those
them up
have
or nothing. I
bones
put
in
them
them?
in whole.
Are they boneless?
No bone. Boneless
Okay.
chicken breasts.
Nice.
Well-
Nice.
It's 2 in a quart jar, real good.
So that's about 2
Well, I figured that
pounds.
would come in handy for some of those recipes. Like when you're making fajitas or something like that, you
Oh,
can
yeah.
just slice them up, or it'll work better with the recipes versus just having all shredded chicken or diced up chicken. I wanted like some.
That's
different-
about 2 pounds right there.
Well,
Almost.
see, I don't get paid
Oh, yeah,
till the
easy.
3rd. So on the 3rd, I'll be doing chicken. If they still got any.
Look at Virginia Roots. She's already got her canner full. You go, girl.
Oh yeah, she don't.
She don't mess around.
She likes to make us. Oh, I can't talk. She likes to make us look bad.
Never.
I'm joking. I love you, girl.
I'm gonna have Chris make me some more shelves. I have no more shelf space to put any more jars. I don't know what I'm gonna do with all that bacon next week.
That's my problem
Well-
right there. I don't have any space.
Lee.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my jar. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Me and the cameras. I
Perfect.
could fit 1.5 thighs in this jar. I might be able to cut the other thigh up a little bit more, like cut some of the meat off. Is that how you would kind of pack it?
Yep. I pack it like that. You want it under that last rim.
Like
Right-
1
right under the
3/4
rim.
inch.
Milkmaid, how many people you got in your family?
Me, I've got myself, my husband. I've got 2 teenage kids at home and one that's off in the army.
If you can
And you-
squish even more, do it.
Yeah,
And you're doing pint jars?
I am, because honestly, like my oldest son, he eats where he works half the time. And a lot of times, like if we do dinner, if my husband works nights, so like it's just me and my daughter. And I figured I haven't. Oh shoot! I probably should get my other rack. I haven't stacked jars in my canner before, and I can stack them, so I could.
Oh,
get,
do it if you can.
Yeah.
If
I
you
just-
push that meat down, push it down, squish it down, because what's going to happen is when you put that jar in the canner, it's going to shrink the chicken because it's going to cook it.
Okay.
So
Well,
it's
see,
going
I saw that. I did watch Sutton Daze, a little bit of her videos, just
Yep.
to kind of catch up. And I saw that she had put, she kind of smashed it down.
Yep. You want to
There were
smash it down.
chunks of breast, but some of these bones, if I don't have room, I'm making a mess. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
did you-
because it cooks in the jar and it's going to shrink that chicken down and it's going to make more room in that jar for you when it started to cook.
Now,
See,
do you
camp
still
chicken is-
have to knock out the air pockets in them?
What was that?
Do you still have to work out the air pockets?
I
that
do.
are in
Yes,
it?
I do. I do. Yep.
Okay.
You always want to make sure that there's no air in there as much as you can get out.
I got you.
Well, that's nice and squishy.
And one good thing about the bone-in thighs is when you take it out of your jar, when you want to use it,
Mhm.
it stays in one nice piece. And I just take it and I put it in a pan and I warm it up in the oven. Or my son just eats it like that, cold. He loves cold chicken.
Nice.
Yes, it's so flavorful, the bone-in thighs. Oh my gosh.
The only way I can eat cold chicken if it's fried.
Do you think 3 chicken breasts would fit into what size, G2?
It's like what, two
Because Ghost Prepper just got 2 of them in a quart jar.
They were pretty big too.
Yeah, they looked pretty big.
Ooh, almost feel like I'm filling up too full, but I know if they can't down.
Oh, Aussie Mom Homestead. I have a Presto too. Just do it, girl.
I beg. Oh, friendly reminder, I cannot see any of the chat when I'm on my phone. My husband forgot to leave his Wi-Fi with me, so
Yeah.
if you say something and I ignore you, it's not me ignoring you.
I'll try to keep up with the chat, and if they have a question for you, Milkmaid, I'll let you know.
What's up, Canimals?
I'm still new. Hey, Chris.
What's up?
Hello. You did an awesome job last week.
Thank you, thank you. I'll be doing
The bacon.
bacon next week.
Rock and roll.
Nice.
Let's see, Lazarick Homestead Quart. You were talking about shrinkage. Yeah. The ones that Ghost Prepper just did, he did two of them in a quart jar. He's gonna have them shrink up a bit because they cook in the jar and they shrink. So he'll have plenty of space in his jar. It'll actually work out good.
Try not to overfill.
You can squeeze 3 into a jar without it going up over that rim. You've got to keep a 1-inch headspace. So if you can get one in there and really pack it down, you can do it. Yeah.
Okay, last minute change of the menu. I'm gonna can my beans in chicken broth.
Broth makes everything better.
Yes, it does. Homemade chicken broth is the best, man.
I'm doing mine in
seriously?
vegetable broth.
Oh yeah, that too.
I throw all kinds of goodies in my broth when I'm making it because, like, astragalus root or garlic or, you know, the vegetables and stuff. That's so good for you, like, especially if you're sick.
I do onion broth too.
Ooh, I bet I haven't tried straight onion broth.
Yep, really good.
All right, I'm finding with the pints I can only fit one thigh in and then cut pieces off of others. But that's okay because I can use this bone and the meat that's left on it for like a broth.
Oh yeah. I have 2 canners, so 1 can I'll throw all my chicken in it, just my chicken with some water, and I pressure can it for 90 minutes, and it breaks it all down, and then it's usually the cheap chicken that I get, like the leg quarters for 39 cents or 49 cents a pound.
Yeah.
I'll fill up my whole canner, add some water, and then I'll pressure can just the chicken like that in there, and I get it all broken down, and I have perfect broth after to use.
Nice.
And I'll pressure can that broth after too. Lady Hammer, is it okay to have grease on top of canned spaghetti sauce? I don't really know because I only made spaghetti sauce once and I didn't like how it came out, and I won't do it anymore.
Hey, put
I'm a
some
fat
extra
girl,
in the
so
soup mix
I
in
like
there.
grease a
Yeah.
lot.
I like my Classico sauce. It's the only one that doesn't give me heartburn. My own spaghetti sauce gave me heartburn, so meh. I won't do it
Too much
again.
acid.
Yeah, I don't. And Classico goes on sale for like $2 for $3 here, so it's cheaper for me to buy it than spend all that time. It took me 3 days of cooking it down in my roaster, and I didn't make it right. I'm not good with spaghetti sauce.
You know, I get Classico only because I like the fact that their jars also fit regular mouth lids for like canning. So you can dehydrate food and store them in those reused Classico jars. I love that.
I forget who found out. I don't know if it was Lisa Sutton or somebody found out that the jars are really not good for canning. They contacted Classico and they said they're not good for pressure canning because it's a thinner jar.
Right.
I didn't
What
know
jar
that.
is that?
The
I just use
Classico
them
jar.
Okay.
Dehydrated food. Yes, that's for you, honey.
Yeah, you can use them for dehydrating, but not for pressure canning. People have been doing that and have had no problems, but from what they said at Classico, they actually reached out to Classico and they said no, they use a very thin glass and they're not meant to pressure can in.
But if you think about it, it's a tomato sauce. It's probably only water bath canned industrially for their sauce, you know?
Be Charming, I don't have a way to get the link in there for her, and that's not my call. Ghost Firefly wants to get the link. She's not canning though.
She is. Hey
I'll
there.
post the link when he's ready.
Hey.
Daze, are you ready? I can post the link. Oh, well, you got her up there.
got it.
Never mind.
Lee, are you Lee, did you say you add a little bit of water to your chicken?
I just add maybe that much at the bottom because it makes its own juices, so I don't add a lot. But I add water with some chicken bouillon, like that Nora's chicken bouillon powder.
Okay.
Just a little.
Hey, Mark. Hammer Reynolds, hello. Lady Hammer, hello. Okay.
So they said a tablespoon and a half for quarts, so that would be 3. Hold on. Oh man, 3 teaspoons and a tablespoon. So like two teaspoons of salt in a pint, right?
Yeah,
Put some Lipton onion soup mix.
I do know that when you put spices in, like I season my chicken with that Lowry's chicken rub, but I don't put a lot because once you put seasoning on it, it really enhances the flavor when you pressure can. So you gotta be mindful of not over seasoning before you put them in the jar.
Yeah. I mean, part of me wants to leave it unseasoned so I can use it for anything, but I use garlic and onion in everything.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yep. I do some with the seasoning and some without, that for the same reason you just said. Sometimes I like to do my own thing.
Yeah. Like if it was up to me, I'd make it all spicy. Too low spice, but
I don't put pepper. I don't like spices.
did you see last week?
I watched some of it, but I was back and forth in with him in the kitchen and then over here.
Yeah.
Sarsko, that's a good idea for your spices too.
What'd Sarsko say?
She said, I love the Classico jars. I use them for my spices. They're nice big jars. Yeah.
Well, like I said, what I do is I use those for my dehydrated stuff like mint or other herbs and stuff like that. And I'll put the vacuum seal top for like the what's it called? The food saver. But I use a brake leader to pump out the air. And yeah, they're great.
That's one thing I want to get is the brake bleeder because you don't need electricity to vac seal with that.
Exactly.
Hey, Lee, do you like potato soup?
Do I like what?
Potato soup.
I've never had it.
Oh, it's good.
What?
You got to be
I love
kidding
potatoes. Anything potatoes, I'm there, but I've never tried potato soup.
me. Well, then, have you ever tried cheeseburger soup?
No.
Oh my! That is one of them soups. The more you eat, the more you want.
Oh, I'm gonna have to try it. I'm gonna write this down because they're in here. I'm gonna take notes here because you guys always give me some good things to check out. So potato soup and cheeseburger soup.
Yeah.
And there's so many variations of potato soup, but I like to put bacon. And
oh my God!
I make it a loaded potato soup.
Yeah. Yes.
Bacon at the end because otherwise it gets a little mushy and not tasty.
Well, now I know this cheeseburger soup. You put a whole container of sour cream in there, and that sour cream is what gives it the flavor.
Wild nesting. I followed the Needy Homesteader. She did a video on onion broth. And she boiled her onions in a pot for, I think it was overnight. She had that electric canner from with the spout at the bottom. I didn't do that because I don't have that canner, but I boiled them overnight on a slow simmer. And then I took all the onions out of it, strained it out, and then I just canned it up according to the USDA amount of time for the broth.
I wonder if you could do it in the crock pot.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, you could do that too. Yeah, I have a big turkey roaster. I put everything in my turkey roaster, and I let it sit overnight in that.
Well, what I learned about canning is you're gonna make mistakes. That's how you're gonna know what you can and can't do.
Yeah. Sherry Leach. It was Needy Homesteader's video that I followed. Yep.
Yeah.
Her
My
and
wa-
Lisa Sutton and Needy Homesteader and Linda's Pantry are the three that I followed for the last year, and that's how I learned how to can.
Gilbrook Farm is one of them.
Yes, her too. Yep.
She's awesome.
She's
Yeah.
the best.
Yeah.
She's awesome. I started watching her.
And like you said, Linda's Pantry, I've watched her. And it was somebody else. I can't believe I'm forgetting her name and I cannot remember it. Lord have mercy.
G2 says Virginia Roots needs to be blindfolded for next week so everyone else can keep up with her.
Right? She's like, oh, I'm just gonna.
First batch of taters?
No, I didn't show him. He's all excited, Ghost, about his potatoes. Every one of them sealed, and they're all down in the basement.
No. I'm talking.
Oh no,
potatoes we picked.
No, we're not. No, this is about canning tonight.
Oh.
I'll do a video on that. Gardner Josh, I don't know how much bacon are we going to need for next week.
Yeah, I just typed it in there. I'm gonna find out from Jess, and I'll post it in the community tab. I'm probably gonna do, a couple
I did 6
pounds at least.
pounds.
But I know
6
you can do quite
pounds.
a bit in a jar.
Yeah, you can. I'm gonna do the thick cut though because I don't like the thin cut.
Well, everybody I've seen do it said the thick cut is the best.
Yeah, it is. It
I
is.
can't do
Cool.
thin cut. It's like paper.
I'm gonna do about
Yeah,
6.
Josh.
We're gonna do about 6 pounds too.
You better join us, Josh. How far are you? Where are you at, Virginia? You got the heat to it?
I've got the fire on. I'm just waiting for it to start steaming.
Ah, me too.
Oh yeah.
Filling jars.
That's what I'm waiting for.
Lady Hammer.
TJ
I'm
Trail.
just gonna use thick cut bacon for next week. Any kind really. I personally like the thick cut better than the thin cut. It's just easier to handle. Yeah.
Do that hickory smoked.
Yeah, that's what I use. Yep. Sarsco 219. I just was watching our half acre homestead just before I got on here. I follow Bev too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of overlap. I found.
Yeah. Gardner Josh, you're gonna need parchment paper for the bacon. Yep.
I'm looking forward to that. I have like 20 pounds of bacon from the butcher when we sent our pigs, but the dude didn't smoke it, so it doesn't actually taste like bacon. He just cured it.
Oh.
I gotta smoke it somehow. I
learned how to do the bacon one. I watched Prepper Potpourri. She was the one that I did that one with, and she put maple syrup, I think it was, on her bacon.
Yummy.
And didn't smoke it?
I don't know. She just had thick cut bacon and she put maple syrup in with it.
I want to build me a smokehouse like
Hey Angela.
What's his name did.
How much canner? I put 2 inches of water in, even if I've got 1 layer of jars or 2 layers of jars. I stick with 2 inches and I monitor the steam real close, and it's just never failed me yet.
Yep.
Okay.
My Presto canner has
it
little
says
notches. Do you have a Presto canner,
It
Ghost?
says 1 inch and a half, but no, it's all American.
Oh, you have the king of the canner. My Presto canner, if you look inside the Presto canners, they have notches on the inside that are cut out for your water levels.
Oh, okay.
Yep,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
can
I always
feel
say
it.
each to 1 inch and a half, but 2 just to be safe.
Yep.
And it's always worked. So,
Yeah.
hey, Moonchild.
If you
Well,
keep your
anyway-
rocker, if you
Oh,
keep your
Angela.
jiggler at a good pace and don't over jiggle, because when you over jiggle, that's going to burn the water out quicker. So you want to do it at a good pace.
Throw your hip out.
Okay.
Here we go,
Well,
You might throw
I was
it.
wondering because I was over here jiggling and I didn't want to over jiggle while I was turning on my
Yeah.
heat.
You got to be careful.
gotta
You'll throw your hip
jiggle.
out of joint.
Oh my God, this old lady's going to sit down. I'm not jiggling.
I was behaving. Had to go and say that.
Jerry, I always do 2. I just do 2 knuckles. I stick my finger in the bottom when I fill it up, and when I get to my second knuckle, that's enough water. And then I add a little bit of
A little bit of
That's how I
vinegar. Do you
measure
put
mine.
vinegar in your canner?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I
Yeah.
put
Yeah.
a good splash every time. That keeps the jars from getting all mucked up with the hard water. Can I vote for bacon to be canned next week? You can if you want to, but we already voted. It's bacon. All the moms.
And Lee, thank
Yeah.
you so much for coming up here because you saved me a lot with what you were saying with the chicken.
I'll be back.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm excited. I love watching you guys do this stuff. I just have so much down there. I gotta have him do me another shelf. Otherwise, I would have done more chicken thighs. Trust me.
Now I love
Nice,
watching
Professor.
programs like this.
Taters last. Yeah, we did taters last week.
God.
Taters are awesome. Taters are easy. Good way to start.
Oh, you can do so much with those potatoes too. Oh.
I've got about 2 cases of potatoes, 2 cases of green beans, tomatoes. I think I've showed some of y'all on here about what I have canned
Pork.
and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
And
showed us.
my wife-
Was it week before last?
Yeah. My wife told me I need to slow down on my canning. I looked at her and laughed.
Never slow down in the canning.
No.
If you're gonna eat it, then why slow down?
Well, you're right. You're right. I mainly, what I do is like, okay, my green beans that I canned last year, I'm starting to eat them. I'm wanting to rotate my stock.
Yep,
Like
always
that.
rotate it out. Yep.
But yet, let's say.
Yeah, Bug. The lady
if
used to always
anything
beat
happens,
the jiggler.
What did he say?
He said I got the jiggler joke in early this week. I'm like, yeah, the ladies usually always beat me to the jiggler joke. I wanted to make sure I was first this week.
Too. Have you ever used a Tefal? Tefal what? I have Tefal pans, nonstick pans.
Oh,
I have a
okay.
square Tefal that I make my like quesadillas on and my tuna melts and things like that. But
I want that recipe you did on the soup.
I thought I posted a link in the. I'll look. I thought I posted the link in the description box. It was perfect. Perfect.
Was it?
Just like Olive Garden. My gosh.
Oh, I saw
Well,
a picture of that, but I didn't see the video. I'm sorry. This has been a crazy week.
He ate 3 bowls in one sitting. Okay. And half a rail of Ritz crackers dumped in there.
If I can figure out how to email you that recipe for cheeseburger soup, I'll do it.
Well, I'll email you, and then you'll have my email. You just add the recipe in there. What's your email address, honey?
It is go to private.
Can you type it in the chat?
That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go to private
Okay.
chat on here, cause
Yeah, we voted on bacon. I think it was like 2 weeks ago during the live stream. We just decided that we were doing bacon, and Jess was going to walk us through it.
Yeah. Thank you, Alicia. Yeah, that soup was really good, honey. Because I can't always go to Olive Garden. It's too far away. And that was the perfect taste, just like Olive Garden's.
Hey, I'll be right back. I gotta go find my I gotta go find my rack that separates the jars. I don't know where it is.
Okay.
all right, Lee, it's in the private chat.
All right, honey. All right, I will email you
Nice.
the recipe.
All right. Matter of fact, I think I have your email from the last time you emailed me.
Yeah, you do. You should. I'm gonna
If I ain't erased it.
You know what I do for this may be helpful to you? When I get emails from people, I create a new folder and I tuck all those emails into that particular folder. Like Ghost Prepper, I'll put Ghost Prepper, and then whenever I get an email from him or something, as an example, I'll slide it right into that and save it.
Lee, I have a hard time turning my phone on and off.
I'll send you the email with the recipe.
Okay.
I try to put the recipes or the link to the recipe in my description box in my videos too. Sometimes I don't always remember, but I try to. Because I like to print things off, so I'll print the recipe out with and put it with me at the stove, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, Sarsco, you save the bacon. You don't want to put too much bacon grease in the jars because that is it's not really an approved bacon isn't an approved recipe in the USDA. That's why it's not in the books. So I try to cook the bacon. I'll cook the bacon halfway in the oven, and then I put it on the parchment paper and I roll it up and then I pressure can it so that not all that grease is in the jar. You're still going to get some grease, but not as much as you would if you put it in there.
I didn't think you could put too much bacon grease on something.
Well, for the safety of canning and leaving it on your shelf, because fats go rancid quicker.
So I'll take for granted you cannot pressure can bacon grease.
The shorter the shelf life's going to be.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It shortens the shelf life. And I've had mine in my shelf for over a year, and it's still fine.
Oh, yeah.
A year and a half, actually.
Well, I'll tell you one thing you cannot pressure can. That's ice cream. I done tried it.
Ice cream. No, you can't, Chris. No.
That'd be the greatest thing to do in this world.
Tell me about it, and it being homemade on top of that.
Aw, Miss Kim. Miss Kim, I remembered.
No, I've seen people eat canned bacon that was close to 10 years old. I want to say it was like 7 or 8 years old, and it was just fine. It all depends on where you store it too. Now, if you've got the fat content as low as possible and you're storing it in a cool, dry place where the temperature really doesn't fluctuate more than maybe 5 to 8 degrees from winter to summer or whatever, if it's pretty stable, it's going to last a while. As long as no sunlight's getting to it, no light's getting to it, and the temperature stays stable, and you prepared it right, it's gonna last quite a while. I couldn't even put a date on it. If I pop the top and the seal's still good and doesn't stink and there's not stuff growing on it, I'm gonna eat it.
Yep, that's how we
So
do it.
you're talking about like storing it in a cellar.
Storing it where?
In a cellar, like
Yeah.
underground or wherever.
Oh yeah, then that'll be perfect. It'll stay nice and cool and dark.
Yeah, mine's
I'm gonna have to break my shovel out now.
yeah, it replays Shadow Dancer. All the canning live streams are up. You can go watch them anytime you want to.
And you can watch the live chat too, because a lot of times you get a lot of good stuff in there too.
Yeah.
And funny stuff.
I have to tell you, all the people in this chat, that's where I get so many ideas from, is all of you all. I have notes all over my desk because you guys give me such good ideas on everything.
Hey, Lee, go to YouTube and type in cheeseburger soup.
Oh, I will. Believe me, I have it written down, but I want to stay in chat right now and focus on that. But I wrote it down. I wrote loaded potato soup and cheeseburger soup.
No, I don't have
Yeah, I
to
have
put water
cheeseburger
in
soup.
these,
I got
right?
several cases of that downstairs.
What do you have, Ghost?
Sorry.
Cheeseburger soup.
Oh,
Well, it's everything.
I can't wait to try that.
I add the cheese later, but it's all the soup. And then I also have a homemade vegetable soup I used with just every kind of bean I can think of. Onions, potatoes, hamburger meat. And I do it in a beef broth. It's delicious.
Oh my gosh. You gotta do that. Oh.
If y'all do that cheeseburger soup, use that small box of Velveeta cheese. Don't use the large.
Speaking of cheese, I think I might do a video tomorrow or the next day. I got like 8 pounds of cheddar in here. I need to go ahead and wax. I've got my wax and everything. I need to get that done.
Oh, I never seen that before.
Ghost, I got a suggestion. Why don't you do a video on how to make cheese?
Make what?
Make what?
Cheese. You know, you can make cheese.
What?
CHEESE. I don't know
Cheese?
what. Yes.
No, make it. I just bought it at the store. Professor Falcon, yeah, I lube where the lid makes contact with the canner, not to help it seal, but to help it not stick. The All-American has a metal on metal surface. It seals with pressure, but you have to put a little bit of oil on it, so it'll sometimes stick, and you got to take a hammer to get the lid off.
No, I'm talking about how to make cheese out of milk.
Oh,
Let me get on my cell phone.
that's
Demeter, it's okay to have a little bit of grease at the top of your hamburger. It's okay for that. Mine always have a little bit of grease at the top.
Huh?
You're not going to get all of it out. It's just not going to happen. So I have a little layer at the top of my jars that I just scoop out the grease before I use it.
Yep. Sherry Leach, I don't think there really is a date. I've heard 30 plus years if you store it correctly, and it's good quality cheese wax. But I've heard that it stores and lasts for upwards of 20 to 30 years, if not longer. And the grease that I get on my hamburger meat, what little bit of grease there is, when I throw it in a pot, I just leave it in there. I just leave it in there for seasoning.
Yeah,
I mean, if you want, you could rinse it off if you wanted, but
Yep. I don't always take it off. He's right. You can use it because it just gives it more flavor.
well, I made tacos last night with ground beef that I canned in 2018, and it was absolutely delicious. It was actually some of the best tacos I've ever had, because it was kind of like, you know how everybody loves a Taco Bell taco meat that ain't actually meat because it's tiny, small granules. It's not big chunks.
That's my favorite.
What the hamburger turns into when you can it yourself. It was like, It was perfect for tacos. It was delicious.
That's how I like my tacos. I made a video not too long using a jar of my canned meat, and it was perfect. Just the same consistency as the Taco Bell, like he said. It was exactly how I liked it.
Hey, Southern Belle teacher.
Hi,
Yes,
Southern
I
Belle.
have no idea how to make cheese. I don't know how to make cheese. Maybe I'll research it and learn, but I have never made cheese.
Me neither.
I have, but I'm not good at it, and it depends on the kind of cheese. Farmer's cheese is really easy, but it's kind of rubbery in my opinion. I've made mozzarella like once or twice, and both times I wasn't impressed. But I've just been so busy, like I haven't really tried it. But I want to get a cheese press and learn how to do that. I think that would be pretty freaking awesome.
I've seen it, but I have no clue how to do it.
Hey, Susie D, how are you? There's a lot of things I haven't done. Like I haven't done breads yet, and I'm getting to the feeling that I want to start doing breads. So Shift Kicker sent me, I think it was Shift Kicker sent me a recipe I'm going to try.
Rosanna Jones, what type of wax do you use for cheese? You can get this right off of Amazon. It's where I got it. You just type in cheese wax on Amazon, and it'll pull this stuff up. You can get it in red, black, whatever color you want. I got red. And it comes in 1 pound blocks.
Nice.
And the cool thing about this stuff is once I use it and I wax the cheese, you don't have to throw the wax away. It's reusable. Like you just cook it down. Like when I melt this down and use it, what's left, I'm going to leave it in the container. I'm going to have those little bags. I'm gonna do it like Rudy did it. He did it with the those slow cooker bags that you use in your slow cooker. He did the wax in there. So when he was done, he just took the bag out, put it in a Ziploc baggie, and put it on the shelf. And then when he's ready to wax more cheese, he just takes it out, opens it up, and remelts it.
Well, that's a good idea.
You open up a block of cheese that has wax on it. If you save the wax, you can cook it. And if there's any food particles or anything stuck to it or cheese, it'll come to the top. You can pick the cheese out of it basically before you melt it down and reuse it. You can use it over and over.
Milkmaid, Kicking It Homestead wants to know if you make homemade yogurt.
Yes. Yeah, and actually it's really, really easy. You'd be surprised. You can do it with store-bought milk and a package of plain yogurt. Like it's, I gotta do a video on it. There's so many videos though.
Lady Hammer wants to know, can I can bacon that is fresh, not smoked or cured? I never have, so I don't know. I just get it out of the store in those packages. How about you, Ghost?
No, I've never canned it before, so it'll be a first for me.
Yeah, I've only used the store-bought, the 1 pound packages, so I'm not sure. Oh, I'll see, Mom. Have a good night. Oh, it's in the morning. Have a good morning.
I'm either going to do the slow cooker bags, or I'm going to go to like Walmart or somewhere and just find me a deep sauce pot and use it just for waxing the cheese, and then I'll just use it. And then when the wax cools, I'll just leave it in the pot and sit it on the shelf. Just leave the lid on it, and then all I got to do is just, keep reusing it without having to move a bag into a new pot and all that good stuff. And basically, it'll just be coated in wax forever, which is perfectly fine. If that's the only thing I use it for.
Hey guys.
Yes, Needy Homesteader has awesome bread recipes too. I followed hers. I gotta get on that bread wagon soon. I had to wait till I was comfortable.
I've made a couple loaves of bread. It's really not hard.
We just don't eat a lot here.
Me either. I made the favorite thing I ever baked, but it's so long. It was my favorite, and it's also the one I hate the most because it takes so long to do it, is the Cinnabon cinnamon rolls. Oh. That takes like 5 hours to do them, the right recipe, but they are absolutely unbelievable.
Oh my God.
Forever.
The Cinnabon, he made Cinnabon bread rolls. Oh my God. You got Chris drooling over here.
They're delicious. Maybe we'll do a video on that one day. It takes a couple hours. I mean, because you got to let it rise 2 separate times, and you got to test the yeast, make sure the yeast is good. But man, when it's done,
oh my
it is so good. They don't last long around here.
Hey guys.
Yes.
Can we give a special shout out to Southern Belle teacher if she's here? I was hoping she'd stop by, and I would love it if she would come canning with us at some point. She's
I know, right?
person.
We've invited her several times.
Really?
Hey, yeah. Southern Belle.
There's no excuse. Gotta come can with us.
If Chris can do it, you can do it.
That's right, Southern Belle. You need to get on here with us next week. We're doing bacon. Sandra Moody, honestly, I'm not going to lie. I just Googled the recipe and I found it on YouTube. There's several videos on YouTube that walk you how, and the recipe, the title says Cinnabon cinnamon rolls. And they look and taste just like they came from the Cinnabon store at the mall. But yeah, it's on YouTube. I just clicked it into the search bar and I typed in Cinnabon cinnamon rolls.
I think Lee and Chris are going to Google it now.
I'm writing it down.
See, we can't do gluten, so all the really amazing wheat stuff I can't do. And I tried to make gluten free, and that was like a pan of mush.
Patty Crooker would like Milkmaid's channel link. If someone can put that up. I know. I love his kitchen.
Thank you. Yeah, it's pretty cool. The people that remodeled the house right before we bought it did a really good job.
Yeah, it is nice.
What size jar will be using for the bacon? I'm pretty sure everybody does it in pints. Don't they fit really good in pints because you have to fold them over?
Yep. I do mine in pint jars. I did some in 3/4 pints as well, but I usually mostly use wide mouth pints. You want to use the wide mouth jars too.
Yeah, I use wide mouth for everything if it's not liquid.
Yep. Bye, Johnny Angel.
Bye, Johnny.
Did you roll up your windows?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Firefly was saying there was thunderstorms over there, I think, or rain or something.
So it's probably coming our way.
Coming our way.
Right now, so we're there now. Just heading water on the
Yeah.
So say we got a first pack of Peters.
We got our Southern Belle.
Southern Belle Teacher's actually canning right now.
Yay!
Maybe
But
you
not with
can come back
us.
and show us when you're done.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Chris is all excited because we just pulled one of our potato pouches out that was totally dead. And we got some of our first batch of potatoes out of the soil.
Nice. I don't know what's going on with mine. They won't
They're
stop
little.
growing. I mean,
They're little, but that's good because
potatoes
that's what I like. I like the little ones.
mine are almost 3 months old and they're still just as green. They haven't flowered yet, nothing. Now I was
got
reading sometimes they don't flower. So
Yeah, we got the
I don't know.
flowers, and this one totally died out, but the other ones are still going strong, so they're not ready yet.
Did you let it sit for 2 weeks after it died out?
No, I didn't know I was supposed to.
Yeah, you're supposed to, after it dies out, you're supposed to just let it sit for 2 weeks and do not water it. And that's when the potatoes are supposed to do their maturing.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, well, we got 9 more bags, so we're good.
But like
Writing that
after
down.
that, when it all dies back, just cover it and or not wrap it, but if you can move it under somewhere where it can't get rained on, and don't water them for 2 weeks and let them dry out. Oh, sweet! Them little sweet potatoes.
Little baby taters.
Nice.
So after they die out, let sit for 2 weeks.
No
Yep.
water.
No watering.
No watering for 2 weeks, and then flip them over.
Oh, all right. I was just so
At least that's
impatient.
what I was told. This is the first time I've ever done potatoes, so
Well, now the
Yeah,
next
be
batch
charming.
that dies out, we'll try it that way and see what happens.
yeah, mine
I
haven't
think I
flowered
put
yet
too
either.
many. I think I put too many in that bag. I had like 6 potatoes in the skinny bag, so I think it was too many.
Yeah, I did. I know I put too many in mine.
I think potatoes don't always fruit and flower unless they have like certain conditions, from what I've heard. But mine have
Yeah,
always
I
flowered.
watched. Yeah, I always thought they did, but I saw somewhere, I can't remember where it was on the internet. I was looking through it, and they were talking about how the flowering process is so fast. Like sometimes if you live in like a challenged environment, or there's like a really bad weather at the time that it usually flowers, it could like literally flower and be done in like less than a day, or sometimes you won't even see it and they're gone. And then I even heard somebody say that theirs didn't flower at all, but it still made potatoes. So I guess if you're like, basically the only purpose that the flower actually serves, I think, is to make the seed pod, right?
Oh,
Yeah. So
mine flowered and
as long as the
died.
potatoes still, as long as the potatoes still grow. I mean, yeah, I didn't get any seed pods, but what I'm still
Oh, I
hoping they'll
didn't either.
flower. But I mean, they have literally, my tub is about 20 inches tall. They're planted all the way in the bottom. They grew out. They grew up about 4 feet. Then they laid on the ground, and now they're back up about another 3 feet in the air. Like
Wow.
I tied them up twice, and they just broke. So I'm just letting them go. Whatever they do is what they do.
I let
Mine
pop over.
flowered. I had some flower, then the flowers died, and then they came back, and then they died, and they've been dead after that. But the greenery is still there. Oh, no problem, G2. Jeff wants the link again.
Awesome.
Whiskey made.
So is everybody giggling?
Oh,
Milkmaid
girl.
William Smith says you need to change your name to Whiskey Made after that pull.
It wasn't whiskey, y'all. It's cider.
360 pickled eggs. That is a lot of pickled eggs.
Yeah, that is.
Holy macaroni. Where are they keeping that? They have an extra fridge?
I have never had a pickled egg ever in my life.
I made some last year. They were okay. I mean, they weren't like my favorite, but they were all right. They were edible. And it's really not hard at all to do.
Sorry.
I don't think we'd like them, so I don't know if I would even. I barely can tolerate boiled eggs. I can eat them, but not a whole lot. Southern
I
Belle,
love
you have a good time canning.
Come back and see us when you're done.
Southern Belle.
Bye, Southern Belle.
Does anybody know if turkey bacon cans well? I don't.
I don't know. I never tried that.
Bacon, but
No.
I don't know. I don't see
That
why
would be
it
worth
wouldn't.
trying, though. My kids love turkey bacon, but that would be worth trying.
Is Emily still doing chores?
Is she doing what?
Still doing chores?
She said she'd be right back. Yeah, she said she'd be right back.
Hey, Recycled Homestead. Oh, recyclable.
Like the pickled eggs, there's like a million different recipes on how to pickle them with different sauces or brines and stuff. But honestly, I mean, it was, if you're a fan of just eating hard-boiled eggs, I mean, you'll dig pickled eggs if you get your flavor right.
Yeah, I was surprised. I made a batch of just dill pickled eggs, and then I made some jalapeno pickled eggs, and then I made some chipotle pickled eggs. Like, there's all kinds of different recipes. And basically, I mean, we have so many eggs coming in that they come out of your ears. So,
I'm not sure if that's to me or not, Jet. I never said I've never had a pickled egg. I've had many pickled eggs. I've only pickled
I
them
haven't
once.
had it. I'm not from North Carolina. I lived in North Carolina, Jeff, for 3 years, but I'm not from there. But I've never had any pickled eggs.
I'm from North Carolina. I've ate everything you can possibly eat that's been pickled. I'm talking from the pig's feet to all of it.
The only time I ever had pickled eggs was when I was in a bar.
I do want to know what pickled pig's feet is like. I've never had this.
I've never had pig's feet.
What?
Not a thing up here in Massachusetts.
That pickled pig's feet is probably something you got to start eating as a young person so you're not scarred for life. If you grow up eating it, you're cool with it. But if you've never met a pickled pig's foot before and you walk into a store and somebody hands you one and you're an adult, you're probably going to freak out and call the police. Some kind of a pickled crime scene. But yeah, I mean, if you grow up on them, it's like normal.
Never here in Massachusetts, ever. It's not a thing here.
Here we also have another North Carolina thing called liver pudding. I love some liver pudding. Nisa sausage. Oof.
With real liver?
Huh?
With real liver? Animal liver?
Yeah, but I'm not sure what all's in it. It comes in a block, like clay, and you just slice off the slice and throw it in a pan with some ghee, fry it up real quick, or you can just eat it raw or right out of the fridge on a sandwich with some mayonnaise. Ooh, you want to talk about good?
I have never had a liver either. No liver ever.
Now, does it taste like liver, like the coppery taste or iron taste? Does it taste like liver, like with the iron taste?
No, it's kind of like, oh man, how would you describe it? It's kind of like a mix between Spam and Vienna sausages.
Huh.
It's really it's its own special. It has its own texture that cannot be duplicated. It's just like, I don't know. It's unless you've eaten it, I can't explain it. It's like you either love it or you hate it. There ain't no in between. It's kind of like Spam. You're like, yep, I can do Spam, or nope, it'll never be in my house. It's that kind of thing.
Bigfoot hates Spam. He won't do Spam.
Well, see, I'm trying to put organ meat in our food more often because honestly, it's really good for you. Like the vitamins in it is off the charts. You don't need much, but I need to find ways to make that because I can't stomach liver. I can eat pate.
Who said Massachusetts? John McGill. We're in Massachusetts too. We're in the Worcester County area.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Good luck with that, Emily.
Crap. Oh.
I've never had liver. I don't think I'd want to. I've seen it. I won't.
Pate's good for
you.
My grandmother used to make. Yeah, my grandmother used to make the best liver onions.
It's good fried up. Put it on a sandwich with mayonnaise.
Fried liver pudding, Christopher.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff.
I can't. I just can't. That's right up there with the squash.
We need backwoods on here and talk about cow tongues.
Southern New
Will
England.
101, John T, Prep for It, Bub Dude, I see all of you.
Prepper
Owl,
101.
great to see you.
Hey, dudes.
What's Southern New England? I'm really bad with like the map and everything.
We're about 15 minutes away from the Connecticut line.
Yeah, I'm like really bad about where I live. I get lost in a paper bag. So someone asked if I was Eastern, Western Massachusetts, and I gave the wrong answer. So I don't know where Southern New England part is, what those parts are.
South Central Massachusetts.
It doesn't help me, Chris. It doesn't help me when you say that.
No, Brenda, I'm the only one canning chicken breast. I know Virginia's doing thighs and legs. I think Susanna was doing thighs and legs as well.
Just thighs.
And Milkmaid was doing thighs and legs. I think I'm the only one doing chicken breast.
Yeah, I just did one. I ended up doing one can and the rest beans because I don't know how it's going to turn out.
Not a problem. Yeah, I'm doing beans as well.
What kind of beans are you doing?
Cranberry.
Cranberry bean? I never heard of that.
It's a type of pinto bean, but it's a lot sweeter. It's really, really good in chili.
Oh, okay.
It's called cranberry. It's a sweet pinto bean. I love it. I don't even buy pintos anymore. I get the I mean, I do buy pintos. I've got them in bulk, but like just to go get a bag of beans, it's cranberry.
Cranberry. That's different. I never heard of that. That's weird.
They're delicious.
Oh, an hour left from Cape Cod. Okay, John. That helps me. Trust me. That helps me. Yeah. He's probably over by Crazy Irish.
Yeah.
You're over by Crazy Irish. Cranberry corn mush. Oh, I hear someone's canner. Is that Virginia? Oh no, she's muted. Brenda, they're all doing different chicken. Ghost is doing breasts, and the rest are doing thighs and legs, and yeah. Prep for it. Prep for it. I'm going to email you about that other site you told me about a couple weeks ago.
Moonlight Gypsy asks, so this chicken will be used how? However you want to use it. I mean, literally, however you want to use it. I'm canning whole chicken breast so I can, make a meal with a whole chicken breast and serve it whole if I want to. You could theoretically just, dice it up and do whatever you want to do with it. But I just did them whole because I've never done whole breast before. All the other chicken I've ever canned has been shredded or cubed up, and I just wanted to do them whole to see how it turns out.
Yeah, same here.
The thighs, the bone-in thighs, when I've canned them, they are fabulous. So what I do with them is I'll take them out because they hold their shape really well. And then I'll take them out of the jar. I'll put them in a pan, and I'll just heat them up in the oven with whatever, like onions or whatever. Or my son will eat it straight cold. He loves cold chicken. And it just slips right off the bone easy.
I mean, you could make Alfredo.
We were doing the ugly chicken with Leisa from Suttons Daze, but she had a scheduling mishap come up last minute, and she was not able to join us. So we're just shooting from the hip. So we're making it, by the National Center for Home Food Preservation's guidelines, and we just raw packed some chicken.
Lisa Sutton just got her baby piglets. I was watching her video.
Oh, I saw that.
She gets them every year.
Is Emily still here? Or is she still working on her water pipes and stuff?
I don't know. I sent her a message. In case,
Patty's wanting to know how to get to your channel. Can you drop your own link?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just.
Can anyone help me
pop
find the
off.
Milkmaid's channel?
Well, I don't think I have a wrench, so I can't drop it in there.
Give me a sec. I'll just have to pop off here for a second. That's what I sent her a message.
Okay.
If she needs me to pop off here and mod, I can do that.
I can pop on your link.
If you just give me a wrench, I can drop it in there. I don't have a wrench for you. I have Milkmaid on my subscription list, so I can pull it up and just put the link in there.
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I've never done this before. I want to try to figure out how to do it.
You just go to her
cool.
page, and then you click that link at the top, and you copy and paste it into your stream.
Right. That's too much. All right, I gotta go to. All right, here's what I'm gonna do. Since I'm lost.
Yeah, Sasko, her bacon bits. Yep. She gets them every year. She keeps one or two, and then she sells the rest to customers that have already ordered them.
Okay, so.
Virginia just dropped a link. What one was that, Virginia Roots? Oh, that was Milkmaid's link. She just dropped her link. I always forget to put the name in there too when I drop links. I do.
I was trying to figure out how to navigate YouTube and StreamYard on my phone, and that's not a fun thing.
It's hard. I have to do that on my desktop. You guys are brave for doing it on your phones. I can't do it.
I don't have internet except for on my phone unless my husband leaves his Wi-Fi.
Oh, I'm an old school lady that I have my desktop right here. It's the only way I can function.
Oh, I'd like to do it old school, but like, what's the cost of being rural?
Yeah, yeah.
One day, supposedly, I'm going to get faster internet, and then I'm going to help people out. And
I'm really bad with my phone. I'm really bad. I can only do one thing at a time on my phone. Otherwise, I'm going to lose myself somewhere.
Yep.
I can't do all that. Crazy Irish, she's a whiz on the phone. Lake Fairy too. She's all over the place with that phone, and I can't even. I can talk at once, or I can text at once. I can't do both.
Hey, 101. Oh, I can't
There's
even
so
get
much you can do with canned chicken. There's so much.
Mm.
Possibilities
Oh, yeah.
are endless. And you know what's in it when you do it yourself. You know exactly what's in it.
There you go.
Plus, chicken is probably one of the best meats as far as holding up its texture. It stays. It feels the same in your mouth, after being canned for 5 years as it does if you cooked it. I mean, I think it does. It holds up the best out of any of the meats that I've canned. And I've told that rabbit the same thing.
We did beef brisket when we watched Alaska Prepper. We did it, and I love the beef brisket. So we're gonna do that one again too.
I did. I do a whole bunch of the Boston butts. I make pulled pork. I've got like cases of pulled pork downstairs.
I hear that. I don't think I've done that one yet. I did pork tenderloin, but I think Susanna did the pork butt, and she loves it.
No, I don't like pork.
Oh no, it was
like
the
pork.
beef. It was the beef. It was the
I
beef.
did a roast beef. It was really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
We should do a pulled pork one. I know you have a ton go, so maybe you could just walk us through.
All I do is thaw it out.
Well, I picked up a whole bunch. It was like 99 cents a pound. And, I raised my own hogs, but when I find that deal, because, like, the Boston butt is actually a shoulder cut, and it is the perfect fat to meat ratio for, like, sausages and stuff like that. So I don't buy sausage. I make it.
Right.
And also I love pork.
I'm going to be honest. I did the pork tenderloin, and I never opened the jar yet. So I got to open the jar and see what it tastes like. I haven't opened it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got 4 of them downstairs. I've never opened it. I just canned the whole tenderloin. I cut them into little like mini pork chops, threw them in the jar, rock and rolled. One's mesquite barbecue, and the other one was something else. Or 2 were mesquite barbecue, and 2 were smoked applewood bacon. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll try it just for Milkmaid's sake. Okay.
I'm gonna open a jar.
Put it together.
I will. I'll try it.
Oh, Virginia's so cute.
I love these that you do these live streams, Ghost. This is awesome.
Yeah, I have a blast doing it. Everybody, like even when I said something to Suttons Daze when I invited Leisa over, and it actually came up last night on my live stream. Somebody was in there and we were talking about the cannon party, and somebody in the comments, a new person I'd never seen in my comments before, said, you mean you guys like can live on the internet? And I'm like, yep. They're like, that takes a long time. I'm like, yep, about at least 3 hours usually. Like it was a bit, but here's the thing, whether I turn the computer on and talk to you guys and can, or I don't turn the computer on and talk to you guys and can, it's still going to take the same amount of time. Right. So instead of us all being in the kitchen, bored out of our minds, figuring out what to do, let's just do it at the same time and talk.
Yeah.
I've thought about bringing bills into the kitchen and doing them, but like this is way more fun.
Last week it was over. I was flying over 6 hours last week. Last Saturday night it was 6 hours and like 9 minutes because Mark tried to kill himself eating the ghost pepper. Or whatever
what
pepper
happened
that was.
with him anyway? Have you talked to him yet? He's fine?
Yeah, he's fine. Yeah.
I felt so bad.
Oh my God, his face was so red up here.
I see Virginia.
I was like,
I know that was hot.
On. Felt so bad.
I have Lisa Sutton supposed to come on my channel on the 10th of July. I hope that she don't have a scheduling conflict then. She's going to come up and just chat.
Yeah, and then Prepper Tribe came on it like for the last 2 hours. Him and I hung out and just chatted for like 2 hours.
That was fun to rewatch because I had to go to bed.
I did too. Lisa Sutton's actually my consultant upline for Thrive Life, so that's how I started buying my Thrive Life from her, and then we got to talking, and she said she'd come up on my channel too in July. So we're gonna have a live with her on my channel and just talk about whatever.
Prepper 101. No, we did not cook the chicken first. This is raw pack. We're canning raw chicken. I mean, you can cook it if you want, but that's called hot packing. We're raw packing or cold packing, however you call it. Anyway, it's raw chicken in the jar.
Yeah.
It's cooking while it's in it, making its own juice. It's a process, Prepper 101.
Those juices, man.
I actually like
the
raw pack better.
He's probably going to ask if the recipe is the same for mother-in-law and chicken. Yes, it's the same for mother-in-law.
I prefer the raw pack over the cooked one already. I don't like having to cook it first. It just tastes better when you raw pack it, in my opinion.
I'm looking forward to tasting it. Sorry.
Yeah, it's pretty close. It's 2.5 to 3 beers per jar.
I didn't see the comment.
What is he saying?
What's
the 3 beers per jar?
1 to 1.
Hey, I wonder if you can can beer.
I don't know. I mean, it doesn't need to be canned. You just jar it up. I mean, well, he cooks.
I see his wheels turning.
He's like, I'll can that. I'll can the kitchen sink. I'll can the bathtub.
It's addicting. The canning does, that's for sure.
You could can whiskey. I mean, think about it. If you would put whiskey through a canning process, I wonder if it like intensifies the flavor or jacks up the alcohol content.
Probably jacks up the alcohol. They probably kills the alcohol content.
Oh, when you cook with it, don't it cook it all off?
Yeah. Because my secret ingredient to my chicken soup is like some cheap white wine. Just put a little glug glug in there in a big pot. Obviously, that might be a glug glug glug, but that like everybody's like, oh my gosh, your chicken soup. What's your recipe? I'm like, I throw everything in there and then I glug glug some wine.
I'm writing this down.
Yeah, so I made a mistake tonight.
Uh-oh.
When I reached pressure and put my weight on, I forgot to set my timer. And I don't know how long it was running before I remembered I didn't set my timer, so I just had to guess. So I made sure to guess low. So I'm actually going to end up processing for a little longer than 90 minutes just to be on the safe side, which is perfectly fine.
Just remember, I'm going to share this. Don't touch the jiggler.
Yeah, don't touch
Oh,
the
I'm
jiggler.
always touching the jiggler. I don't care what you say.
Wow. Okay, that went out there.
Hearing that statement come from that voice is
I
priceless.
know, right?
Hey, I was the
She's trying to come out.
tell him, Ghost. Who was the original jiggler?
You were all over me, like from day one. As soon as I said jiggle, she's like, what? What did you say? Okay. And it was on after that. And then she got into her, and then she was letting everybody know what jiggler means. Yeah, and then she was stalking me. Then she was trolling me all over everybody else's page. I'd like be on like a motorcycle repair shop page. And she'd be, hey, what's jiggling, Ghost? She's jiggling, baby.
Susanna, how dare you?
Oh my God.
Susanna's the best.
I know. I love that girl.
Wow, she's really coming out of. She's
I
really
love it.
opening up.
Look at my hair. I'm so. We were outside working, and I got.
Oh, don't let that sweet innocent picture up there on that screen fool you.
But you need a baseball cap.
I know.
That's what I swear by. Like my hair looks like.
It was so humid outside today, and we were out there getting things ready because we're having a couple people come over this tomorrow and Monday, and it was just so humid. Look at this.
You're beautiful. Shut up.
Oh my God! I got Firefly Farm coming. She's coming Monday, and Prepper Steading's coming tomorrow for a couple days.
Really?
Yeah.
Steady.
Yeah.
He's coming to hang out at the house.
Yeah.
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 Tell him I said hello.
Yeah. Actually, the truck company that he drives for, one of the offices is right in the town next to ours. So he had to go there.
He's running a load up there, and then when he realized that we live close by,
like 15 minutes, if that,
he figured, hey, I'll get some downtime and I'll come and hang out with y'all.
And then Firefly just decided to come. I'm like, let's do it. She's coming from New York.
Oh, wow.
Okay, here we go. Prepper 101. What all do I need to can? Call out the list and I'll get the stuff. Well, number one, you need a pressure canner, not a pressure cooker.
Yep.
There are several different types. I have an All-American. There are Prestos. The All-American is expensive. It's went up about $120 in cost in the last year. Like when I got mine, my 921. It was like $220. Now it's almost $350 for a 921. But they last forever.
They do. My mom still has hers, and she's 70 something.
Yeah, because Virginia's was made in 1923. I think she's got like the first one ever off the assembly line, and it's still working strong. But you can also get a Presto. They sell those at Walmart for like $78, and they work perfectly fine. I think Susanna's using a Presto, aren't you, Susanna?
Yes.
Yep, and I have that too. And I have the 16 quart and I have the 23 quart. And those you can use those on a flat top stove. If your manufacturer booklet tells you it's okay to can, you can use the Presto on there. You can't use the All-American on a flat top.
I am.
You are?
I have been for the last 4 years.
Oh, well, then disregard
'Cause
that. I've never
it's a-
had one, but I just heard it's very.
It's a flat bottom. It's a flat bottom. It's not concave. I think the problem is that the older ones were concave, and that heat builds up in that, and it'll pop the thing. But I've canned on 3 separate glass tops in the last 4 years. I've never had an issue. I'm just very careful with it. I never slide it. I always pick it straight up and straight down. You know, I don't touch it once it's on the stove until I'm finished. But you need a canner. You need the canning tools that come with the canner, and you're usually sitting right beside it. It's a box. It comes with a debubbler, a jar lifter, and a funnel. You're going to need jars and lids, obviously. And then you're going to need, different things like canning salt if you're going to use canning salt for anything. But that's pretty much all you need is the jars, the canner, the tools, and the food that you're canning.
Yeah. You want to
So
have
you
some
could probably
vinegar to wipe your lids, your rims, your ribs.
And
Yeah, I mean,
something
you can probably
to
go to
prop,
Walmart and get everything you need for less than probably $150.
Mm-hmm.
and then something to prop your phone on or whatever you're using so that you can come up here and can with us.
Yes, you have to.
You want to have a towel or something to put on your counter to put the jars on when you take them out of the canner. You don't want to put them directly on a countertop.
Oh yeah, I loved Virginia's Roots answer to that. Yabba dabba do.
Virginia Roots canner was once owned by Wilma Flintstone.
Hey, it's still rocking and rolling. I'm good with it.
It does look prehistoric.
Yeah, you want vinegar because you got to wipe the rims of your jars off before you put the lids on them.
Yep. You're going to need vegetable oil, depending on what kind of canner you have. Mine's a metal to metal seal, so I have to lube up the metal.
Yeah. You want to do that for a Presto as well. You want to lube that gasket up too. Yep.
Jokes are going to start now.
Oh, I know. And, I forgot to do that one time, and my lid got stuck halfway on and halfway off, and I almost took a hammer to it.
2 weeks ago, USDA canned with us for the first time. USDA canned with us for the first time 2 weeks ago, hamburger meat outside, and he got the biggest chicken you can get, the massive one. And he did everything perfectly right, except he did not lube the connection on the canner. So when it was done, he couldn't get the lid off. I'm like, go get a couple of hammers. And he went with the hammer, pop the lid loose. It was perfectly fine.
Chris was pissed at me because I was going to take a hammer and a screwdriver to my canner. That's $100 canner, he says.
Mine got one time at the very beginning. I forgot to lube it. Like the first few times you do it, you need to lube it every single time. Yep. And then after a while, it kind of builds up a layer. And then when I wash my canner out, I try not to wash that contact edge where it contacts it, and it pretty much stays lubed. I just freshen it up every couple months. But when I first started doing it, probably my second week, maybe my fourth or fifth load, my lid was stuck, and I just went and got my rubber mallet, and I banged it a couple times and it popped right loose. I wasn't going to do metal on metal because it's aluminum, but I just got a rubber mallet and I held it and I tapped it and it came loose. It wasn't that bad.
I was taking a screwdriver and I'm trying to pry it, and because Chris was at work, so that canner lid, I had the beef brisket in there at 2:00 in the afternoon till 7:00 at night. I had to keep putting it in cold water just to keep it from going bad. He was like, you did not take a screwdriver to that canner.
I come home, 6:30, 7 o'clock. What's on the counter next to the canner? A 32-ounce framing hammer and a big, massive flathead screwdriver.
He was so mad at me.
I looked right at her and I was like, "Couldn't there not be a ding in this?" She's like, "No, there isn't."
Then he comes and he just goes like this, whoop, and the lid comes right off.
I just grabbed the handles, looked at it, turned it, and then I turned it again just to study it, and then I just squeezed the handles together and it just popped. And she's like, "Oh." She's like, "What did you just do?" And I'm like, and she's filming this at the same time. And I'm like, always lubricate the seal, people.
I always do. I just forgot that one time.
It happens.
I got it all on video. It's in my video that I dropped because I was like, you know what? I'm going to let people see my mistakes too,
Yeah.
I'm at work driving a truck and she's like, "Yeah, I might take a hammer and apply a screwdriver to it." I'm like, Oh, no, you better not.
He flew right
That's
home.
$150 canner. What are you thinking? It's aluminum. One thing in that, and it's ruined.
Didn't Dusty do that when he was canning with us? He took a little like hammer and
Yeah. He had to use a hammer. Yeah, he had to wrap it a couple good times. He did two actually, going counter, against each other. Bottom one way and the top the other way, and it popped loose.
Oh my God.
Prep for it. Yeah, prep for it. I did. I forgot to put the lube on there, and what it was is I was putting the lid on, and it didn't go on straight. So I went to go and take it back off, and it was stuck.
It locked in just right. And I'm like, I just looked at it and I just grabbed what I can with the handles because it wasn't set up the right way.
It was my first video, I think, canning too.
Grabbed it and that was it.
It sat there for hours.
so many jokes here. Just saying.
Oh no. I would go check. They don't have family over there.
What?
The ambulance is across the street at the elderly neighbor's house, and we watch out for our neighbors.
Yeah.
So
yeah, her husband had surgery a long time ago and had a leg amputated, so it's hard for him to be mobile. Well, when he falls down, he has a hard time getting up, so she called the fire department. And I told her, I was like, I live right across the street. If it's not too late, call us. I'll come right over. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I would go check on them. Check on them. We have a lot of elderly neighbors. They've been here 50, 60 years, so we just kind of watch out for our neighbors.
Yeah.
Y'all are good people.
One of the neighbors ran himself over with his car. I was sitting right here, and I have all my windows, and I watched his car back right over him. He had just had back surgery, and then his car ran him over, and I got there. He had tire tracks down the front of his clothes, and he had a collapsed lung and a broken hip and all that. If I hadn't saw that, he wouldn't have been here today.
Oh, man.
It was awful.
You can use vegetable oil, extra virgin olive oil. You don't want to use motor oil, okay? It's got to be cooking oil. So, yeah. Motor oil. Just use vegetable oil.
I use olive oil. I've used Actually, I have used Vaseline. And I've used avocado oil.
Yeah.
Yeah, I use that too. Just remember to do it. Don't pull a Lee. Just don't pull a Lee.
We're starting to steam.
All right, Ghost Pepper. If I get the canning stuff and come on your show, do I need a fancy green screen like backwoods and $100,000 bunker like my cousin's secret stuff? No, you don't need either one of those. Yeah, and I'm here to tell you, if anybody's watched that video and you think that $100,000 bunker cost $100,000, I got some land I want to sell you. Because number one, it wasn't a bunker. Number two, it was a storm shelter, and it wasn't even constructed right. They poured the concrete floor without any rebar reinforcement. And even when they did do the rebar in the ICF forms, they didn't even tie the rebar in correctly. I mean, they did rebar on the roof and rebar in the walls and then tied them to the edges. That's not how you do it. You want to bend it at a 90. You want to tie off a couple feet below the top of the wall and let that 90 curve into the roof, then tie it off there. It was completely constructed wrong. And the roof's at ground level. I mean, it's not a bunker, it's a storm shelter. And it wasn't $100,000. I can build that exact bunker that he had on his video. Honestly, I can build it myself. Backhoe rental included for probably around 10 grand, maybe 12. Nah, maybe call it 20 because he used the ICF forms. Those are expensive. I would just do a regular cinder block. It's easier.
And that's right. Use kitchen oil, not bedroom oil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff Ware, have a good night, Jeff.
Isn't that the same thing?
In some cases, it just depends on how drunk you are.
Hey, Ghost, have you ever canned like sausages or hamburger patties?
Oh, yeah. Both. Yeah. Sausage patties, smoked sausage, sausage links, kielbasas,
Do they-
hamburger patties.
Do they keep their shape
You
though?
need to go to Ghost's channel and look
Yeah,
at
they.
his
I
ate
do
all
watch his videos, but I didn't go all the way back to the beginning yet.
I ate all
Go
the,
back to the
all the
beginning.
all the sausage patties. I ate all those. They fit perfectly into a wide mouth pint jar. And then I got the hamburger patties from Walmart. You know, you get the long tubes that are already frozen.
Yep.
And I just bought them out and I like par cooked them like halfway through, and they drop right down into the wide mouth lid of a quart jar. And I filled them up with hamburger patties. They're downstairs in the basement right now. Been there for
And
about 3 years.
they taste good like a hamburger patty?
I haven't eaten hamburgers yet. I ate the sausages. They were fine. I mean, the texture was a little bit different and the flavor was a little bit different. Just like the flavor and the texture content fell off probably about the same as hamburger meat does. I mean, it's still edible, still tastes great.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
I know that
biscuit
people use their rings. They use those jar rings and they put them on there to make the shape of and that makes them slide right into the jars because it's the perfect shape and size.
Mine fell right. I par cooked them so they were just small enough. They dropped right in the quart, no problem. You know, they laid flat on top of each other all the way up to the top of the jar.
That's one I want to try. I want to try that. I haven't done that yet. I know, Susanna. I did watch his channel, but I didn't get to all of them, like all the way down to the beginning yet.
Hang
I
on,
like
I'll
to
go
go-
get them.
He's canned like everything except for 101's mother-in-law.
His what?
Except for 101, Prepper 101's mother-in-law. Man, I'm just now getting steam.
No?
I've got a massive canner and it just does not get up to temp. I did actually heat it up and then I put my jars in like some semi-hot water before I put them in. So we'll see if anything blows.
Oh boy. You have the big canner. How many cans does it hold?
Well, I thought it was like, hold 7 quarts on the bottom, but I didn't think I could double stack them, although it's close. Like, I wonder if I can maybe finagle it a little. I think maybe it was last week or the week before. Jess was saying something about using a towel instead of those dividers.
Yep.
To stack them, or at least on the bottom part. Because it almost looks like it could hold 2 levels of quarts.
Probably
So
without that divider, yeah.
This is the first time I'm canning pints. So I'm doing 2 levels of pints, and I thought, quart, pint, wide mouth, all the same kind of size, but I could actually fit 8 pints. So I ended up just filling up some water in the other ones. Might as well. It's basically canned water, but it's
that's how I did it. That's how I do it when I don't have enough of something. I just use a water in the jar.
Yeah. So I think I have that would be 16 pints in there.
Yeah.
But it
sounds about right. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It takes forever to come up to heat. And last week I was on the ball. I think it was last week that I actually had it heated up. What was last week?
Yeah, well, you got the honeydew of all canners there. So it's thick. It's a thicker canner, isn't it?
Yeah, I got it off of Craigslist. I paid $100 for it from a lady.
Oh,
And, she threw in like 32 pint-sized jars.
oh my God!
Yeah,
That's a gold mine,
right? Well, I mean, it was like 2 years ago I got it, and she was an older lady. Like, I walked in and they had all these greenhouses, and they had some chicks, some Cornish crosses that they were raising up to do the farming stuff. She's like, I've gotten out of canning and I'd love to give it to somebody who's going to use it. And
well, you got to figure they're really heavy for older people to handle. I have a hard time.
yeah,
I couldn't find the
they're great,
hamburger patties down there somewhere. They're in one of the cases mixed up. But here's the smoked sausage that I did. And you see there's jalapenos in there?
Oh boy, you got the peppers in there. Oh,
Yeah.
look at that.
Smoked sausages.
Oh, nice.
Kinds of hot seasonings down in there. It's got red pepper flakes, garlic, red pepper flakes, garlic, jalapenos, and the smoked sausages. If you're going to do smoked sausages, just remember, or any kind of sausage, remember to poke holes in the skin or they'll blow up inside the jar. I had that happen. It's ugly. They still taste good, but it just looks ugly.
So have you eaten those? Does it change the, the spices at
They're
all?
good. Yeah, they're good. They're real good. They're nice and spicy. They're edible. They're not like so hot you can't eat them, but they're like really, really good.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, I got to do that. Well, I want to start learning how to make my own sausage. With these next pigs, I'm going to try some charcuterie, or however you say it.
Wow.
Make some pancetta and prosciutto and all those things that you can just hang in the room and you don't have to worry about refrigeration or anything like that. That'd be cool.
Professor Falcon said his 921 was $400 with tax. Wow, man, those things have went up in the last couple of years. My 921 was $220.
Well, at least you got one. It's
yeah.
probably gonna go over.
Yeah.
I wish I could see chat, man.
No, you don't. No, I'm just joking.
I saw comments on.
Oh my God, Pepper 101. Jeez.
Him and Bug, they like play off each other too. I think we might actually have a funnel. Almost. Good thing I did pints, yeah?
Yeah. See, am I the only one who did quarts? I did quarts. You did pints, right, Milkmaid? What about Susanna? What'd you do? Quarts or pints? And then I think Virginia, you did quarts. I'm not sure what Virginia did.
Yeah, quarts.
Okay.
So, but that's only like 65 minutes for the pints, correct?
Quarts, bone-in, hot pack.
Cold pack.
John.
Hot and raw with bones. Pints are 75 minutes. Quarts are 90 without bones. With the bones, pints are 65 minutes. Quarts are 75.
So with bones, 65 minutes. All right. Well, I'm going to be putting my jiggler on here. Maybe in about 10 minutes. It's almost to a complete funnel. I get a little paranoid about the whole evacuating all the steam.
Yeah.
Like last time with the potatoes, there was a period, and I have to go back and look at the video, but I think there was a period where it wasn't jiggling as much, and I got a little paranoid.
Oh, really?
Like,
Really?
Huh?
What'd you say?
There was a period when we were doing the potatoes that I wonder if it was still jiggling every couple of minutes.
Oh.
Like I noticed, you know how you kind of feel it after a while? You can feel how many jiggles are good. And it kind of felt like it wasn't jiggling as much. And I was like, man, because when my weighted gauge says 10, my dial gauge will say something like 12. So I don't trust that dial gauge to save my soul. Yeah, no.
Oh, one thing I did learn today when I looked at the National Center for Home Food Preservation, it was talking about chicken broth and rabbit broth. And for real, the processing time was like 30 minutes. And I'm like, what? Because I process it for an hour and a half. So that's why my bone broth and my chicken broth is so dark and so it's like wicked awesome good. So apparently you can do it in half an hour, but I'm still doing mine in an hour and a half because it's awesome.
Oh, hey, Ghost, when you go to butcher your rabbits and you go to start processing them, hit me up because I've got some tips when it comes to like cooking them and everything that I kind of learned over time. Like do not put a whole rabbit in a crock pot. You will get so many bones.
Is Southern Belle teacher still in here? She won one of the giveaways over at Pinball.
She did.
She needs to go over there because you're supposed to, I think she has to claim her prize.
She left. She had to go run an errand. She had to go run an errand, she said a while ago. Somebody go tell Pinball that she's not at her computer. She just logged off of here because she had to go run an errand, she said.
Oh, Be Charming just said she's over there now. She's over at Pinball's channel.
Okay.
Good.
All right. That's good.
A while ago, she said she was canning, but she had to leave. She had to go run an errand or something.
Yeah.
Chris, I'm going to step off for a minute. Chris can warm my seat. He's got the air conditioner on. I'm freezing. My toes need their woolly socks. I got to go put my woolly socks on.
It's like 100 degrees in here.
Yeah, but it's cold. My God, I'm freezing. I know he's been running. I forgot to put the laundry in the dryer. So we had 2 loads sitting on the dryer that needed to be dried. More in the washing machine. I totally put it all in there. I just forgot to turn it on.
At least your washing machine's working. My washing machine belt gave out this week, and the truck gave out, and my son's car blew a thing, like it blew the tire. And so he put the spare on, came home, and then we were trying to switch out the seared off bolts, which is like a $3 part. But this stupid car needs an 8,000-pound press of some kind to get those bolts out. So he has to take it to the shop.
Wheel bearing assembly.
Yeah.
4 bolts in it.
What?
It's got 4 bolts in it?
I don't know. I didn't even look. I let them do that. But yeah, for $3 to change out a $3 part, he has to take it and get labor done and everything else like that because we don't have those kinds of tools.
Brenda won on Papa Prepper. Brenda won a solar panel with a box.
Yay, Brenda!
Wow.
Yay! Congratulations, Brenda.
Yeah, Be Charming. She won a K-bar knife.
Yeah, I know. You've been wanting one of those.
Yeah. I got a little one that hang around my neck. I want a big boy.
My first gift for my husband when we were dating was a neck knife.
I like this neck knife. It's perfect weight, it's balanced, and it's made by K-Bar. It was well worth the money because we're looking at them, and they have little tiny ones that you can get in a gumball machine for like $10, $15. And I'm like, well, how much is that one? Because it's got a polyplastic sheet with a thumb lock on it. And whatever, yeah, I'll just show it to you.
He's gonna go get it.
Cat's trying to attack my foot.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
It's got the little thumb lock on it.
Oh, that's a nice little blade.
And it comes with paracord so you can make a handle and you can make have it tied to it. So you never know when you're going to need a paracord.
Right?
I like it. It's not too heavy. It's not too bulky. And it can be easily hidden under a t-shirt, sweatshirt. And it's very easy to get to.
Yeah.
Prepper 101, the 21.5 quart, the way they size the canners or the cookers, because a pressure cooker is, a pressure canner, you can also pressure cook in, but you can't can in a pressure cooker. A pressure canner like the All-American, its size, when it says 21.5 quarts, that's the inside volume of the canner. That doesn't mean you can put 21.5 quarts jars in there, okay? I think the 21.5, I think that's the 921 if I'm not mistaken. I think it's the same size as mine, which means you can run 7 quarts at one time or 16 pints double stack. No, it's not too big. There's no such thing as too big. If it was up to me, I would have got a bigger one instead of the 921. I would have got the massive one like Dusty Data has. But I can't use that inside of my stove because of my microwave. But no, that's a perfect size.
Go big or go home, buddy.
I wish I had a bigger one because I mean, if I would have just spent an extra $100 and got the double size one, I would have cut my processing time in half. You know, so it's like I'm actually thinking about getting the big one and then selling this one to somebody, you know, or just running, you know, 2 All-Americans. But I'm definitely going to probably get a Presto so I can run 2 canners at once. The problem is that's still using twice the amount of energy. You know what I mean? If I just had one massive big All-American, I can just run 1 burner and I'm using the same amount of energy and canning twice as much stuff.
Yeah.
Virginia Roots, I'm sure she can't wait to open that hatch.
All right.
First time I saw her canner that night, I'm like, what is that? That's like something you look like that's on a major military ship with the little knobs.
Yeah, it looks like a torpedo tube on a submarine.
Yep. Down the hatch.
They're dang near indestructible.
Just looking at it, it looks like it's very heavy duty and it's heavy.
It's 100 years
Oh yeah,
old.
All-Americans ain't no joke. All-Americans are hardcore. They're built to be around forever, literally.
Right, as long as you don't warp them.
Yep.
It must take a lot to do that.
Generation. Yeah, you'd have to try to do that. But you'll have it for generations. It's worth it's one of those things that I won't go cheap on.
Look at the jiggler just spinning around.
Almost.
Yeah, first time I saw that, I was just like, what is that? I never seen one like that before.
Hey, Cashew's here. Jeep Girl's here.
Yay. Anybody hear anything from Emily?
Like
She all right?
So you can have your. Oh, I want to
MP's here. All-American 930 is rough.
I want to syrup a little longer for you.
Double stacked and made. Yep.
You don't want to be rolling while they're all here.
Can he double stack?
We're going to start rolling now.
No.
Oh.
I haven't heard anything from Emily.
Whoops.
I haven't heard from her either.
Ghost, how dare you drop us all?
I know, right? My bad.
It's okay. I didn't do anything.
Y'all are literally sitting on a box on my countertop on an egg carton. Okay. She's good. She's good. Emily's good.
Yes, Sherry Leach, we use a timer. Hour and a half for me. I think Milkmaid's going 65 minutes.
Once I get there.
It's an hour and a half for me.
You can see the sausages that he did. Oh my God.
The guy cans everything.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't cash his can his t-shirt he's wearing.
Grunt style
John McGill says you look familiar, trying to figure out where I might have seen you.
Who?
America's Most Wanted.
I haven't made that page yet.
Cops?
Y'all hear John on Just Josh?
Would have been cops.
Are they?
I don't know. I've been all over the place, but never on Cops or America's Most Wanted. Live PD, nope.
Not that you know of.
Oh, I know. I would know. I would know. No, definitely not there.
Did you ever drive out there for Casella?
What, out by Ball River area?
Wherever he is.
I don't know where he is.
Hey, Rose Young, how you doing?
How did it go today? It went good. Not a problem driving a truck. The only challenge is when it has.
It's getting in and out of the truck. That's his problem.
I'll get it down.
He's short.
Oh my God. But no, it went well. The truck was a little challenging to drive, but it's easy getting used to. The challenge is with the weight that they put into it for the concrete. I worked in a
Queer
lot
eye
of
for the
areas.
straight guy. Prepper 101.
What?
Alicia, hashtag free Chris. Oh yeah, Rose, I invited you over too. Rose Young is by me too. I forgot to, you know what? I'm gonna send you an email, Rose.
Rose, check your email.
Yeah, I totally forgot, honey.
John T. McGill, which area are you out of basically in Massachusetts? Oh, we'll figure it out. I mean, I worked around the Cambridge area, Brighton, Newton, all around Worcester, out towards Holyoke, Berkshires, Connecticut, Southern New England. Okay, that's
The only place I've been to in you guys are New Jersey, right?
huh?
Y'all are New Jersey?
No,
No,
Massachusetts.
we're Massachusetts. We're
Oh,
Massolians,
Massachusetts. Okay.
Massachusetts.
close to New Bedford.
Okay.
Okay, okay.
Can't remember if I've gone to
Alright.
Massachusetts or not.
Oh, I remember. He's been in other chats. That's right. I remember
Yeah,
the
you
name now.
probably see me elsewhere too. So New Bedford.
We've been in other chats with him. I remember now.
Close to New Bedford. I used to do loads for Market Basket for Polar. Did up in those areas.
Hey, Ghost. How's
Yeah.
Zod doing?
Huh?
How is Zod doing?
I can't hear you. How's
Zod?
Za?
Yeah.
She's glowing. she's got this maternal glow about her.
Yeah. Is she eating
I
more?
hope.
She's eating hers too.
Huh? Is she what?
Eating more?
Loads a lot, maybe. Yeah.
I mean, I'm giving her a lot of fresh grass and clover and stuff like that. I mean, her eating's about the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, it hasn't really changed, but it's only been a week, so.
I know. But I'm so excited for when that happens.
All right. I've got 4 bucks and 2 does, so I've got to get rid of 2 of my bucks. So I may just process them, or I may take them to the guy that I got the 2 small ones from, and see if he'll swap me the 2 bucks for one of his does, and then buy another doe. You know, and then start going, because like Tribe, he's just a beast. That is a big, beautiful rabbit. So he's 16, almost 7. He's 16 months old, almost 17 months old right now. So I can get probably another 6 months out of him. So I'm gonna need another big buck. So
You could probably go longer, honestly, depending on how he does his job. Like we had,
Right.
He reminds me so much of our buck Boog that we named off of that. Like, what was that cartoon movie thing with the deer and the bear, and the bear's name was Boog. The kid's name was Tim Boog. And man, he did his job. Now he always flicked pee at my son when he'd feed him.
Well, like the Tribe, he's so cool. I go out there, he's just laid back, and I put her in the cage. He went right to work. I mean, it was like 3 fall-offs in probably 4 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, it was like boom, done, quick, over with. I'm like, wow, okay, cool. You know,
Yeah.
So, and the people that I got him from, they said that he throws off big litters. They said that he usually does between 6 and 9 kits each time, which is good.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, hopefully if he's throwing big litters, I'll use him until he quits throwing big litters. But I also want to have at least, because I'm gonna run 2 different lines. With the I'm gonna have like 1 buck breeding with 4 or 5 does, and the other buck breeding with 4 or 5 does. So there's familiarity, because everybody I've talked to said they kind of get used to each other. If you keep breeding a female rabbit to a different male every time, there's like, for some reason it takes longer. But one of the big rabbitries I was looking at, the way this guy has it set up, and he's got oh my God, it's a huge barn, and he's got over 1,000 rabbits, like for real, full grown and kit at one time. It's a massive operation, and he breeds obviously meat rabbits for restaurants and stuff. But he said that he always breeds the same buck to the same does, and his litters are consistently 8, 10, 12 kits every single time. He said that he has tried to mix them up a few times, but when he did that, it would work. They would still get pregnant, but the litters were smaller. But he said he said he firmly believed that the buck and the does, they kind of get to know each other, and there's like a certain comfort level, so it makes the entire breeding process like quick and easy.
So they have harems, which would make sense in the wild too.
Just talk it in chat.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, Sherry Leach, we haven't gotten the plastic on it yet.
I didn't want to interrupt them.
When you want to type in the chat, you just go here, hit at Sherry
okay.
Leach, and then, yeah.
I'm still waiting for my jiggler to jiggle.
Don't touch the jiggler.
I don't touch the
101
jiggler.
is looking for everybody. Oh boy. All right. Crazy Irish, you said Prepping 101 is looking for us. Let me put it on the TV. I'll put it on the TV, and then I'll just jump in chat there.
Rabbits move faster than a ghost.
Virginia was
Where's
the
she going?
bone legs. I'm doing bone out thighs as well, 75 or 90 minutes. If the bones are in, you can process them for 75 minutes. If you have stuff that doesn't have any bones in it, it's got to go 90 minutes. If you're doing them both in the same loads, just go with 90 minutes. It won't hurt to process them a little bit longer.
Did something happen to Virginia? She popped off the other day too.
Yeah, I know. I don't know where she went.
She is a popular girl.
Susanna, what are you doing?
That's my girl right
I'm
there.
just,
That girl. We've been friends for
any
years.
chicken I had left over, I was just putting in the oven.
Ah. Yeah, Sherry Leach, we didn't get the plastic on the greenhouse yet. It's been too hot to do that. We have to do it around a 50, 60 degree weather to where it's not going to affect the plastic in any way, because when it gets hot, it's going to expand, and then when it gets cold, it's going to shrink, and you got to do it when the weather is a happy medium where it's not too hot and not too cold.
Virginia, if you have anything in the canner that does not have a bone in it, then run it for 90 minutes. It won't hurt to process the bone in for longer than 75. If everything in the canner is bone in thighs and bone in legs, then run it for 75 minutes. But if you have stuff in there that's boneless, run it for 90 minutes.
Hi, Gardner Josh.
Hey, Sunflower Prepper.
Uh-oh, Josh is in here?
Yep.
He's upset at me.
So what?
Yeah. But it's okay. I still love the guy.
He's not upset at you.
He was earlier.
Oh, why? Because Prepper's Day?
Yeah.
He knows-
The man crush on Chris.
Yes, Gardner Josh has
think
a
he
man
knows
crush
now.
on me. And
I think he knows now that you're just using pepper steading for his truck, so you can go see, so that you can go see him.
oh, really, Josh? You gotta be like that, brother?
What did you say?
Hey, ex-internet husband, Chris.
Chris
Y'all
loves
got it.
Josh.
Well, maybe you shouldn't read the chat. Never mind.
I don't know. I don't know how I'm an ex already. I never got the internet divorce papers, so he said they're in the mail. They might be going to the wrong address. I ain't signing them. You're stuck with me, buddy.
I am canning in quarts. Everybody's canning in quarts except for Milkmaid. She's doing pints. I'm canning boneless chicken breasts. Everybody else is canning bone-in thighs and legs. I do believe.
Ghost, have you
Actually,
met her?
I've seen her in the chat several times. I think we've said hello to each other, but I've never actually personally met her.
She's a hoot. I've known her for years now. Love her. Oop, we almost have a jiggle.
Uh-oh.
I don't know. That's always so exciting. I don't know why.
What? Jiggle?
Should get old after a while, the jiggle, but you know.
Virginia should be getting pretty close. Oh, she's got her painter's tape ready. She's ready to label. Have you already turned it off?
You know, it's sad. I haven't labeled a dang can since we started this.
I've got 10 minutes to get to 90.
10 minutes to take them out or 10 minutes to, okay. Cool.
She is working it. I don't know how Virginia does.
That post-World War I era canner she's got takes no prisoners, man. That thing is like, that thing has survived the Black Death, World War I, World War II.
Yep.
You know.
The plague.
Korea, Vietnam. That's right.
Hammurabi's
Oh,
Code. It is quite cool.
Jerry Leach, Ghost and the panel, from start to finish, about how long does it take one round of canning to take? It depends on what you're canning. Some things have a really long preparation time. Some things are just quick and easy where you just dump it in the jar and turn the heat on and they go pretty fast. But overall, if you're canning like some meat product or beans, it's an hour and a half processing time once it's up to pressure. It takes about half an hour to get it up to pressure. It takes a half an hour to come back down from pressure in most cases. So you're looking at 2.5 hours there, plus any kind of preparation time. I mean, if it's something where you're just you're just dumping beans in a jar, adding the water and letting them go, you're looking at 3 hours. If it's something like chicken where you're par cooking it and then getting the meat off the bone and then doing it, plus making your bone broth and chicken broth on the side like I do, that's an all day. Like when I do chicken, I'll do anywhere from 30 to 50 pounds and I will can nonstop for anywhere from 12 to 16 hours. It's an all day thing. But at the end of the day, I usually get about 20 quarts of bone broth, which is in the stores, it's like $6 to $8 a quart. I'm getting it for free. And I'm also putting up usually 2 to 3 cases of quart size jars full of chicken. So it's a long day, but it's a very, very productive day.
Plus, like in that downtime while you're watching the jiggler and everything like that, you can get other stuff done. Like if you want to do some processing for dehydrating, you can chop up some carrots or whatever else, or do your bills, or talk on the phone to your friend that you've ignored forever, that kind of thing.
Professor Falcons says Virginia's canner was at the Last Supper.
Yeah.
I believe that.
Yep. That's why, like, with the exception of these nights, I try not to can in the evening just because I'm done by the end of it.
Yeah.
Start in the morning.
I do most of it on the weekend. Like if I know I'm going to can chicken, I'll do like a 2-day thing. It's like I'll do, you know, all day Saturday, most of the day Sunday. I'll just do like a weekend of canning stuff. I try to if I'm going to do it. Until we started doing this show. Now it's just like a weekly thing. We're going to can for 3 to 4 hours or 6 or 7 hours, however long I stay online.
I told my husband earlier, I was like, you don't mind me doing this every week, do you? And he's like, no. I was like, it's great because I actually, like, I view it as a fun thing, so I'll put it off. But it's actually a necessary thing. It's kind of like gardening too. I do that with gardening. I love to garden, but I'll put it off to do everything else under the sun, and then that doesn't actually benefit us. This makes me do it and enjoy it, and it's for YouTube time.
Yeah, exactly.
Get to hang with my
And
peeps.
that's what I was thinking about. That's why I decided to do this. I'm like, I'm going to be, everybody's asking how to can this, how to can that. Well, let's just do it together versus me canning it and then you canning it. And then we have to go online to tell each other how we turned it out. Let's just do it at the same time and watch.
Yeah.
What you got, Virginia?
I was saying hi to Sandra and PAEM2. I had no idea. I have a winning canner. That's pretty cool. I'm going to be turning this off in like 3 minutes. So I'm going to mute. It's really loud to me. It's got to be loud to you, but I'll be turning it off and then I'm going to switch to the other computer.
Okay.
Dude, that thing's pretty
Not
scary.
loud to me. Mine's just starting to jiggle. Do the jiggle dance.
Don't touch the jiggler.
Too late. I touched it.
Susanna, too late. I already touched it.
Oh,
Susanna, you're killing me.
B. Mitch, first time here. I'm going to start tuning in. I'm interested in canning. Well, welcome to the show. Welcome to the party. Do you have your canning equipment? Do you have your stuff? Well, whenever you get it, give us a holler, shoot me an email, or, we're here every Saturday night at 8 o'clock. Next Saturday, we're canning bacon. So if you can get your stuff ready in time, get you some pint jars and the canner and everything you need, and we're going to can some bacon next week.
Oh, I can't wait for the bacon.
Yep,
I heard that.
It's going to be good. But welcome, Mitch.
We love new people for, interested in canning.
Yes. Klingon's here. Hello, Princess. How are you today? Look at G2. How in the world? Where do you get these emojis at? He's got the bacon up there. Look at that. Boom, boom, boom. Bacon, bacon, bacon. It's
She's talented.
Yeah, I can't get all technical with those emojis. I'd love to, but I don't know how.
You know what I do? I just go on my phone because that's the only thing I ever freaking use. And then, I click on the emoji thing, and then you start typing, and it'll bring up stuff. Like, I put in hoot for hoot owl holler, and all these owls came up.
Oh,
Yeah.
I do my desktop, so I don't know where that is.
Oh, that is harder on the
Kitchen and
desktop.
Beyond. I don't know. I've never canned bacon before. I'm going to find out this week, and I'll post it in my community tab. So.
Okay, so for the bacon, you want to par cook it. I par cook it in the oven on a cookie sheet to get most of the grease off. Then you put it in parchment paper and you cook it the rest of the way in the jars. That jar does the rest.
Cool. Yeah, I've seen a couple of videos. I know you par cook it a little bit. I'm not sure. And then Jess at Keto Homestead is going to walk us through it because she cans it all the time. So
yeah,
she's going to be the guest host next week. She's going to walk us through the bacon.
And save the bacon grease.
Yep.
Do not throw that stuff out.
Yep, save it in a jar. Just keep an extra, and you just pour it into the jar and save it because you can do so much with that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, is there any other way, PAEMT?
Did you say? How do y'all preserve cabbage and gut? I mean, you can pickle it, but that's basically sauerkraut.
I've got several cans. I fry my cabbage and I can it after I'm done, just like I do my collard greens.
Yeah, we're canning. Duh.
I know, Tasha. I can't help it.
What'd you say? I was wondering about myself.
I would think the texture might be a little bit different, but as long as it's still edible and it's got nutrients in it, I'm going to eat it.
steak texture person.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
all about
it's,
flavor.
as long as it tastes good, I'm gonna eat it.
Yep.
I'm just happy when we're in our garden and we see things growing.
I'm gonna have to do a garden tour and let you guys know what a monumental failure of a gardener I am.
Honestly, it's sometimes it can be a little discouraging, but just don't give up. You just try different ways of doing things.
Well, that's what I did this year. I tried something different, and it was definitely not impressive. But here's the thing: we have long enough growing season that now I know that my summer is going to be a bit of a flop. It's going to produce something, but it's going to be a bit of a flop. But now I can prepare for fall and overwintering. So that's kind of what I'm going to put my focus on now.
It's gotten to the point where he'll come home and he'll talk to the plants before he talks to me now. He goes out and checks the plants before he comes in and says, "Hi, I'm home."
Well, it's an investment.
Yeah, he goes out there and love talks them. He gives them all kinds of love talks.
Like the other day, I'm like, look at the strawberries.
I'm like, oh, Chris is home. He didn't even come in the house. He went out to see the strawberries before he came in to
I
see
thought
me.
she was having a stroke and an aneurysm by the house yesterday, and then she's telling us, look, we got tomatoes. We got tomatoes growing.
Yeah, it was in a plant that I thought wasn't going to make it and die, and it's the first one producing tomatoes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, B. Mitchell, yeah, I do. I mean, you're always going to have somebody who says, no, you can't do that, but I do. It's a pretty much shelf-stable fat.
Yep.
And then today we got baby taters.
We're going to have those this weekend when we cook that food with pepper steading.
You know what's interesting is people pay a lot of money for those itty-bitty little taters. Like last year, I had some good potato production, but other plants, like it was all just little dime and quarter size potatoes. It was really irritating to me.
They're really tiny. They're small. I think the biggest one is like maybe rounded to $50, and that's it. That's like the biggest one. Because she put, I think, I put like six potatoes at the bottom of the bag, and the bags are only what 10-gallon bag.
Yeah, they're a potato bag.
They're for potato bags, but she put too many in there. Yeah. But next year we're gonna have grow boxes instead, because I'm getting rid of the tables, and we're gonna do nice big grow boxes. So I'm thinking a 4x4 grow box at 20 inches high, throw a nice handful of taters in there and just let them have at it.
Yeah. They need a little space. I mean, there's something to that spacing. A lot of the spacing you see on the seed packets has to do with like industrial standards. But some things you really do just need to give them a little more space.
But I give it up to him for showing us the way he did it, and we did the same thing, and hey, we got taters.
Yeah.
So when did you guys plant your taters?
When did we?
March.
About March.
I planted mine April the 1st.
Yep.
And this one, all the things were already down, so we're like, all right, let's just check them. And then, sure enough, the minute I broke the base, hey, little baby taters. I'm like, oh.
I didn't know about waiting 2 weeks, so the rest of them were going to wait 2 weeks.
So when they all completely go down, I'm going to take those. I'm going to put them inside the garage so we don't water them. That's going to be the habit breaker right there. We got to bring them inside the garage. They'll still get the heat and some sunlight, but we won't water them that way.
Yeah.
We're going to go through a curing process, and then that way, when we go 2 weeks after that, we'll have more taters.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm doing an experiment.
Taters.
My experiment is how late can you possibly put off planting potatoes and actually get a crop? We'll see.
How you can do
that
what?
again?
Huh?
You got a little squeaky there.
Oh, it was my canner. Sorry. my experiment is how lazy can you be and forgetting to plant your potatoes, and finally remember to plant your potatoes in June, and see if you actually get a crop.
Yeah, I plan on growing year round. I'm gonna try them in the basement. I'm gonna grow them inside with grow lights.
Yeah. Well, here's my thing. I've noticed that we don't really get our first frost until pretty much the end of October. So if I plant potatoes now, maybe I'll skip the whole potato bug thing, because I've actually found them on the nightshades that the nightshade weeds around here. So I might actually skip those altogether by doing it this way. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I mean,
I've been
90 to
overwhelmed.
120 days, so I mean, you got plenty of time.
That's what I thought. I still need to get my sweet potatoes in too. They're kind of crappy right now. They're not really doing well. It's been a rough year.
It was a rough start for us because we started way too early, and the weather just wasn't going our way when we started bringing them outside. Because then we're bringing them outside, and then bringing them in the garage, and then back outside. It was just a horrendous ordeal. But we're learning as we're going along. Yeah, now we know not to start that early.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's always a learning process. Like, it cracks me up when somebody's like, I've been gardening for X number of years. And that's great. The more years you have, the better. That's awesome. But honestly, you learn something new every single year. And if you didn't learn through failing in 1 year, then I feel like that was a year wasted. You know?
Right.
Yeah, that's why we turned around and said, you know what? We're putting up a greenhouse. Because that way, if we do start a tad early, at least this way we could put them in the greenhouse so they're getting the natural sunlight. They'll have the warmness, and they won't be hectic bringing them in and out of the garage.
My goal is definitely a greenhouse.
Yeah.
Or a high tunnel. I'd love.
Honestly, if you're going to build one yourself, they're really not that bad to do. It's just a little time consuming.
Yeah.
We've been doing video updates as I go along on it, and I don't have much to do. Pretty soon, all we have to do now is just put the plastic and screen up and the sunshade and put the doors on, and that's it.
No, that's weird. I haven't been getting notifications for that. I get them for your lives, but I don't get them for that.
Huh. Well, you can always just go and check out the library on her channel. Yeah, on her master playlist. And there's a greenhouse playlist, so.
I don't always remember to put them in the greenhouse.
Yeah,
I do in the master playlist.
It's all in the master playlist because wherever she puts them, she does all the editing, and we both take turns filming, so it's in there. If you'd be surprised what we started out at and where we're at with it now, I get a lot of compliments from people that watch some of our channels, some of our shows, and they're like, "Dude, you're kicking butt on that greenhouse, man. Good job." And
that's cool. I'll have to.
There's no plans, no blueprints, no nothing. It's just vision it and just try to make it the way you want it, and you want to make sure it's going to be stable and sturdy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing one. My only problem is most of my property is covered by trees, which is one of the reasons why I got it. So I'll probably end up having to replace a lot of the plastic. I mean, because I do get a lot of limb falls, not big limbs, but I get a lot of massive pine cones dropping. So it could. But I'm thinking what I might do is do the greenhouse. I'm gonna do a hoop house with PVC, and do the 6 mil plastic. What I'm thinking about doing is I might do a layer above that with either cattle panel or chicken wire above the plastic to kind of shield it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would be good.
I would do the cattle panels because they're a little thicker and a little more sturdier.
No, he's talking about over the greenhouse. So
Yeah.
that when the pine cones drop, they're not going to drop on the plastic. So chicken wire is small enough; those pine cones won't drop through. Cattle panels won't drop through.
Yeah, I mean, it'd cost me twice as much to build because I'd have to have 2 different rib sections, for the for the wire, but it'd be better than having to replace the plastic every year, or having it covered up with plastic. You know what I mean?
I've seen people make A-frame greenhouses to where it just basically it looks like a giant A,
Right.
and have a cattle panel right down the center, and where they're growing stuff all over.
Does
It's
he
all
get, do you
inside.
get a lot of snow?
Do you get a lot of snow in your area?
No, I'm at the border of North and South Carolina. I can't
Oh,
remember.
yes,
Oh.
that's good, yeah.
Yeah.
You're good then.
Southern boy.
Because if you
Yeah,
get a lot of
okay,
snow,
yeah.
a Quonset hut is better, or
Yeah.
a low summer.
Yeah, I had all the snow I needed when I was at Fort Drum. I don't ever want to see it again.
I bet.
No, you could always make a greenhouse to where one side's flat,
Yeah.
where it could be close to the house, and then do like an outward angle,
Yeah.
and then come down to like a 4-foot knee wall, to where you actually have room to go in. Where if you're doing like your potatoes, you can do all your potatoes in grow boxes in the 4-foot knee wall area, and then everywhere else, like on the high side, you could do tomatoes or whatever else you want to do.
Well, I'm gonna do like this winter. I'm gonna test out growing in my basement with grow lights and the windows that I have, and I'm gonna invest in a whole bunch of aluminum foil so I can get the reflections from the window. Because if I can wrap the entire plant area in aluminum foil, that light will bounce back and forth, and it should stop the
generate
light.
a lot of heat.
Yep.
So then I should be able to make it all work in the basement without having to do a greenhouse. But if it doesn't work over the winter, then I plan on doing a greenhouse this spring.
That should work if you're doing aluminum foil
I saw someone else do that.
and grow lights. I used to do that when I was younger, when I used to do marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm thinking it'll work pretty good in the basement because
it will.
during the winter, because I can a lot of food, so I got a lot of stuff put up. But I always want to have a fresh tomato. You know what I mean? I want a fresh tomato year round. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Potatoes are a staple. Things like that. And I can do it hydroponically in the basement, so I don't have to water anything. You know what I mean?
We
So
can
there's
do
not
that in our basement.
The light's
Huh?
the hardest part. Well,
Yeah, I did a lot of research on that. I've got windows in the basement, small little windows. And I did a lot of research, and I found out that if you can, if you go behind the plants and you make a wall, and a reflective wall out of aluminum foil, top and bottom, when the sunlight comes in, no matter where the sun's moving, it's bouncing all around that area where the plants are. So they're getting hit with sunlight from all different directions. And
Yep.
people got really good results with that. So I'm going to try that and see how it works.
Now,
It should work out.
I will say, I did some grow lights. They were only T5s or whatever they were. They weren't actual real grow lights. But I put aluminum foil over top, kind of like a dome, on my trays, because the plants that were in the center of my trays, they grew great. But then the ones on the side were always leaning in towards the center and getting leggy. So I put aluminum foil, and you know what? I didn't actually see a real difference. It could have been because of my light, because sunlight is way better than anything else. And I know that they sell lights specifically for fruiting plants, because fruiting plants require a heck of a lot more light than your greens and stuff like that. But I'm just starting on that kind of stuff, so I don't know much.
I'm going to try it out this winter. I'm going to do a whole bunch of weird experiments in the basement and see how it works, and try to do it to where, because my goal is to be able to grow food year round, and just really worry about the growing season. Because with this whole grand solar minimum, the growing season is starting later and it's ending earlier. So the season's getting shorter for everybody. So, there's ways to extend it. You can start planting earlier, in a greenhouse, and just go ahead and move your mature plants to the ground. Or, the way I want to try to do it, since I don't have a cleared out area for a big garden, is to just figure a way that I can do the containers and just move them in and out. That's why I'm doing all the 5-gallon buckets and the potato buckets, because, they're mobile. I can pick them up and move every single one of them. I already have many times, which is awesome. It's not, when I first did the potatoes and the other stuff, the week after I planted the potatoes, it dropped down to 20 degrees here, 2 nights in a row, twice in 2 separate, and I had to bring them inside. And
Yeah,
then
you posted a video about that. I remember seeing it.
Yeah. Lady Casca grew her tomatoes in the house all winter long.
Yeah,
Good
Lady
girl.
Casket does it all year round.
Beautiful tomatoes.
yeah, that's what I'm going to do. The hydroponics indoors year round. And that's one of the reasons why I did the hydroponic test outside. Those, man, my tomatoes, the hydroponic tomatoes, they are so green, they're almost black. It's the darkest green I have ever seen a plant in my life. And they're
That's
actually
good.
fruiting. They're flowering before the soil tomatoes with the rabbit manure. Now my squash, the rabbit manure squash, is on steroids. It's crazy. It's 4 times. It's 4 times the size of the other squash. It's massive.
Man, you're gonna have to send that rabbit poop here.
I know, right? I can start selling it, and I've got a lot of it, man. These rabbits don't mess around.
Well,
Yeah, they do.
I've got like a whole rabbit poop.
You don't have to worry about handling it. I'll put it in there.
like some years back, around 2002, I used some mushroom compost, and that was really good. I haven't used it, since, but everything I used it on grew really well.
Yeah. I've heard good things about mushroom compost. I've also heard, some things about some of the stuff they use in it. So I'm like on the fence about that. But I will say, if you guys want to get nerdy, I do get nerdy.
Wow, Dangerous Freedom stopped in to say hi.
What's up,
Hey,
Dan?
Dangerous.
Wow, what's up, Dangerous? How you doing, brother?
Hey, Ron.
Dangerous Freedom.
Happy Father's Day to you too, brother.
Oh yeah, happy Father's Day to everyone, Ghost.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you.
Happy Father's Day.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Trying to grow in the basement is not happening in this house.
No.
Well,
Sandra Moody says, Ghost, are you eventually going to sell baby rabbits? The way I have it planned, each litter of rabbits, and it was Good Simple Living did an awesome video on the rabbit. She did an experiment. She got a 50-pound bag of rabbit pellets, and she bred one of her rabbits. And the day that she bred her, she only fed that mother rabbit from one separate bag. And then when she had her kits, they all only fed from that one bag. And she was able to breed and raise the kits to the weaning age almost completely off of one bag, which is like $15. And then she sold one of the kits for like $25. So she made $10 on the process. So what I plan on doing is maybe selling one rabbit from each litter, which will pay for the food for all the rabbits to grow. So basically everything will be free. That plus I'm thinking about doing a fodder system where I can, grow grass for them and feed them versus putting them in lawn tractors and things like that. But I mean, the price of rabbit pellets is really, really cheap and it lasts quite a while. I mean, I've had my rabbits for a little over 2 months, and I opened my second bag of rabbit feed a little over a week ago. So, but yeah, I plan on selling them. I'm obviously going to put a lot in the freezer. I'm going to put a lot into canning jars. But I will sell them just to recoup what it costs to, raise them. Because doing rabbits is the way to go, man. I mean, they literally, if you do it right, they literally pay for themselves.
There's also a book. I can't remember the name of it, but it's basically how to feed your rabbits for free.
Right.
Have you seen that?
I've watched a whole bunch of them. If you have a massive yard full of really healthy grass, it don't cost you nothing to raise rabbits. But I don't. I got trees.
Who is it? Thorhaven Farm. He's doing a colony, and I don't know if you've seen his video on that. He was putting together a colony. There was a farm, and I'm trying to remember the name of it. I met them at Homesteads of America conference. They do a lot of pig butchering videos and stuff like that, but they have a farm out in Kentucky. And what they do is they keep their bucks in cages. They keep their does in a colony, I think inside this old barn. And then they keep all their grow outs in basically kind of like chicken tractors, but they're actually rabbit tractors that they move across. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I loved that setup because it was so perfect because you don't have bucks fighting and trying to maim anybody because that can get actually pretty ugly. And then you have your grow outs that he's moving across. Now he never fully got off of pellets because of the vitamins that they kind of needed. I don't know, but I thought it was a really cool.
Like I wish I had enough. Yeah, I wish I had enough yard to do them, you know, and just do the rabbit tractors. I mean, I do have some grass, but I would literally, it would take, if I just had one rabbit tractor, they would annihilate all of my grass in maybe 2 weeks, and that's not enough refresh time for their manure to get washed into the soil where it's healthy for them to eat over that again. You know what I mean? So that's probably why I'm gonna do the some fodder. I think I'm gonna do some fodder if I can get the seeds right. If not, you know, my neighbor has a massive yard full of grass, and he's the one that's got the chicken. So I can always track them in his yard. You know, that way he doesn't have to worry about cutting grass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or, you know, I can always just harvest grass anywhere, you know what I mean?
And the regrowth will be gorgeous.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, him and I are going to get together because I know we're going to build him some tractors for his chickens. Mm-hmm. So we can just do a couple tractors for my rabbits as well. And because I'm going to try to, once I get the breeding cycles done correctly and I get everything worked out, you know, I've got all my breeding logs and I've got my chart. I've got all the ways to track them and all that good stuff. Once I get it, the whole breeding cycle, and I go through, you know, with each rabbit, and I'll be able to kind of tell, and I'll be able to kind of like ballpark figure how much meat I'm going to need to process and how much tractor time they're going to need. It'll make a lot more sense. But, you know, as soon as I start, you know, as soon as I go from, you know, right now I've got 6 rabbits. Once I get to 12, then, you know, the feed cost is going to go up. So I'm going to offset that with, you know, fresh grass, whether it's fodder. And it's like, even like right now, like my collard greens, you know, the bottom leaves are obviously smaller. I pop the bottom leaves off and I feed it to the rabbits, you know. Yeah. If I see, you know, clover growing in the yard or fresh grass, I'll just grab a handful, walk out there and give it to the rabbits.
They love that stuff. I mean, that's how, like, farmers, because I try to look at how people did it before bag feed. And that's why people would grow certain crops, was simply to sustain their livestock over the winter. So that's kind of been our long-term goal. Obviously, we're not there yet because we still buy feed, but we're trying to select certain livestock and crops to grow, learning how to grow those, so that eventually the days of going to the feed store to get feed are over, so we can just feed them off of what we have. And that's a hard thing to do, especially if you're just starting from, you know, where I am.
Like literally, if you're gonna process rabbits at 12 weeks, they're gonna need pellets. They need a lot of fresh grass to grow them out that fast. But if you're just grass feeding them and you're trying to get off the pellets and go on, you know, you may have to grow them out to 16 weeks. Big deal. 14 weeks or 16 weeks. Big deal. They're a little bit bigger, but it didn't cost you anything to feed them out that long if they're doing just grass. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like a 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. You know, you can breed them, you can grow them out faster on pellets, but you can grow them out cheaper on grass.
And Ghost, you find a sunny spot in your yard, right? And you put a couple pumpkin plants in there. They will eat pumpkin, squash, watermelon, anything that you can grow, pretty much. I mean, I trying to think of anything you can't feed them. I'm sure there's some things, of course. Yeah, I don't think you can feed them like anything in the Silencia family. But yeah,
any of the greens, you know, any of the lettuces, and lettuce is cheap to grow. I mean, I can throw a whole bunch of bib lettuce or leaf lettuce, you know, and you know, it's quick. A month. The seeds are nothing.
And some people say that that'll give them diarrhea, but if it's part of their regular diet, I don't think that's an issue. I think it has to do with the gut bacteria and all that stuff.
Yeah. You don't just switch them. You know what I mean? You kind of gradually bring it in.
Yeah. 1 second. Really?
Tune in to Maury on Tuesdays to find out if Prepper 101 is the father.
Uh-oh.
Come again?
Hey, when's Prepper Steading heading up y'all's way?
I don't know. I gotta check with him tomorrow. He said he should be rolling into Oxford sometime close to midnight. Sunday night into Monday. And that's the time frame he's looking for. So that way he can set the trailer up, drop it, and probably get some rest. And I'll probably call him in the morning and go meet up with him, and then probably come back here, go fishing for a couple hours while she sleeps. And then all hell's breaking loose.
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting.
For sure.
But no, I'm actually looking forward to it. I mean, he's a funny guy. He actually sent us a good recipe that we're actually going to be cooking up. We're going to be doing ribs, bone-in ribs on country style pork ribs in the crock pot, barbecued, and then we're going to put them on the grill with more with Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce on them. And we're going to do, for the side dish, it's going to be bourbon, bacon, mac and cheese.
Oh.
Pick your mouth up. You close your mouth, Ghost. I saw your mouth drop there for a second.
I heard a little bit about cheese on y'all's live. Not gonna lie, mouth is watering a little bit.
I looked up at Ghost and his mouth was just like, he's like, oh.
You tell them about what you're going to be making?
Yes. And literally, I just watched Ghost's mouth just drop.
Okay, so Chris doesn't cook. He doesn't know how to cook anything.
I don't mess with her kitchen.
So Prepper Stedding's coming because he cooks all the time. And him and Chris are going to do this live in the kitchen.
Ooh.
He's going to teach Chris how to cook this in a cast iron.
My wife is going to give us free reign to the kitchen.
Yep. I want to get the matching aprons, but I don't have time.
As long as you got a fire extinguisher, you should be good.
Right under the oven. Trust me, right under the oven.
Yep, there's
yes,
one
I
underneath
do.
the oven, and there's another one downstairs.
Oh, we have two?
Yeah, there's a big
because
one downstairs.
I told Ghost and Prep Backwoods the other night we only had one. I didn't realize we had two.
Well, I don't know if it's good, but it's just one down there.
Yeah, so he's going to cook, people.
Wow. That's almost as exciting as watching him can for the first time.
I know. He's never cooked.
I still remember when you blew up my screen, and I'm standing there like this, and you're just like, look at this. Now, this is a face of a child at the top of the stairs.
On Christmas morning.
Yeah.
You waiting downstairs and
I was waiting.
Yeah.
Episode 1. Who's your daddy?
Even till today. Like, if I'm on a stream, like earlier today, I was in a stream, somebody jumped in a chat and be like, Chris, you did an awesome job, Ken. When are you going to do it again? You're going to be on it again tonight? I'm like, next week, we're doing the bacon one.
That's going to be so good.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. I'm looking forward to the bacon one. Yeah, definitely. I'm
Well,
trying to
Jeff
decide
is
if I want to do like a special live, like sometime this week, because I got to get this cheese waxed before it starts. I mean, it's been in the fridge for like 3 weeks. I want to go ahead and get it waxed. I'm trying to decide if I want to do like a special live stream and do that, or if I just video it. Just video. Yeah. I think I'll probably just do it and video it and just post the video.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna do a video on making ghee, just like 1 pound of ghee, because everybody's been asking for a shorter video because the live stream's so long. So I think I just might have to show how to take 4 sticks of butter, make a pint of ghee, throw it in the fridge, or sit it on your counter, however you want to do it. No pressure canning involved.
I think that would be good because a lot of butter takes a while to make a lot of ghee.
Yeah, I need to make another batch of jelly, grape jelly. Of the Welch's, from the Welch's grape juice. It is so easy and so fun to do. Just pour it in the pot and go. Huh?
I haven't done that.
What? It is so easy.
0 water bathing.
Yeah, the jelly is so easy. You just take Welch's grape juice, 100% not from concentrate, and put it in a pot, and you just heat it and stir with your sugar and your gelatin stuff, and you pour it in the jars, water bath it, and you got Welch's grape jelly that tastes better than the Welch's grape jelly that you get at the store.
Really?
Yeah, I'm down to I think I have 2 jars left. I canned a massive batch 2 years ago, and I have I think 2 jars left. And I need to do some more chow chow. I got to get some green tomatoes and some cabbage, lettuce, and green tomatoes, cabbage, peppers, onions, and make a big chow chow. I made a batch last year, and I think I want to say I had 38 pints or something like that, and I'm down to 2 left.
Wow.
Because that's like Christmas gifts and family gifts. Everybody comes for the chow chow. They come to visit. Hey, can I get it? Yeah, you can have a jar. Take it with you. Yeah. I got to make some more of that because it's awesome.
Yeah, please
We
make a
put that on
chow chow
everything. You put that on
video.
everything.
I haven't made that, so please do.
You haven't made chow chow? Wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll definitely do a video with that. Because the cool thing about chow chow is all the recipes are different. Yeah, all the recipes are different. You can make it how you want. I get crazy with mine. The last batch I made is called nuclear. It's called nuclear. The last batch I made it'll peel the paint off the walls. And then I made some that's sweet. And I made some that's kind of. Well, my sister-in-law, she likes stuff that is beyond hot. I'm like, how can you even eat this crap? She's like, no, make it hotter. I'm like, okay. And she's rock and roll.
Oh, Ghost, I'm going to can some more of that hamburger. That was really good.
You're going to what?
Can some more of that hamburger.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm. I really liked the dry pack. It was good.
I just ate a jar of it last night. We made tacos. It was a jar that I canned in 2018. We made tacos with it last night. It was perfectly delicious. I made a thing of Rotel dip with a jar of it last week, and it was delicious.
Now, do you make your own rotel?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I use my hamburger meat, the chilies and tomatoes, usually the Velveeta cheese.
Yeah.
And then I put in a little bit of milk, a little bit of butter, and some sour cream.
No, see, I'm wondering because I generally Velveeta messes my stomach up for some reason. I'm wondering if you can do okay, so let me throw this out there. You have your canned tomatoes, you have your chilies and your peppers, you have your canned beef, and then you have your canned cream cheese like Jess does, which I haven't done yet and I'm planning on doing. And then you have your waxed cheddar cheese. I bet you that would just well,
I know I put cheddar cheese in with mine. But cheddar cheese needs something else with it to make it melt, a lot of milk or I'm thinking maybe the condensed milk that I can. I'm thinking I could use that with the cheddar cheese and maybe just experiment and see how the melting process works. Because I know when I make macaroni and cheese with it, it does great. So why can't I do the same process with the Rotel and use all stuff that we've canned and preserved to make it that way? Because the Velveeta block is $7. That's just crazy for that block of cheese. The last time I did it, I used the Walmart brand. Yeah, I used the Walmart brand last time. It turned out just fine, and it's $3 cheaper. Mm-hmm.
Well, and for me, I try to avoid some of those ingredients. It's not a snobby thing; it's just an ouchie thing.
Getting a lighter anyways. Look at that.
I wonder how she's doing now.
Emily's all over it. I was trying to answer his question. Emily already nailed it. Yeah, B. Mitch, we did it live 2 weeks ago. Fish and nose. What is chow chow? Sounds like dog food. No, chow chow is what we call it in the South. I think up north they call it chutney or something like that.
Chuck wagon.
Yeah, what it is, it's just it's green tomatoes, cabbage, onions, any kind of peppers, it's just a chopped up mix of all this really good spicy stuff that goes good on hot dogs. It goes great on beans and rice. It goes good in chili. You can put it in everything. I mean, I eat it on pretty much. Like I said, I've had it on an omelet before. It's delicious. It's just good stuff. It's just like an
Depends on how your system is. Have a bottle of Pepto. Oh no, I never had something like that before. So
never had chow chow? Wow.
No.
It goes awesome on Philly cheesesteak.
I'd have to say you can make if you made a poor man's meal with bacon bits and cabbage boiled, I'll eat that all day.
Well, I do. Like I take my cabbage. I'll take a head of cabbage and I fry it on the stove with
Mhm.
smoked sausage or kielbasa, and then I can it. Like I've got
Oh,
jars
that
of it
sounds so
there.
good.
It is good. It is a meal. It is
Oh,
so
you
good.
know what, dude? I'm down for that episode.
Yeah,
Cabbages.
I have to
Oh,
do that.
whatever it was
Cabbage
that
with
Mark
kielbasa
described,
canned.
like grilled the cabbage and like peppers, and I think he said he put some cheese on it, and I was like, oh my word! Like,
What in the
cabbage
hell was you
sounds very
doing?
good.
Oh,
Good stuff.
God.
Add all those other elements in, and it's heaven.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, Ghost is not getting rid of us anytime soon. We're going to be canning our butts off.
Yeah. Yeah. This show's going pretty good. Everybody seems to like it, so why not?
How many
I mean,
got
we're
in the chat?
That's Prepping
57.
101. Craig and
It's,
Craig the Hunter being silly again.
it's been in the 60s and 70s most of the night. Right now we're at like 56. It keeps going from in the high 50s to mid 60s.
Well, there's
So
a
plenty
bunch
of
of
people.
lives I've seen pop up on my phone. But you
Yeah.
know, I'm fully committed here, so you know, I'm not. I can't double dip if I wanted to. I'm a all or nothing kind of person.
Gotcha.
Props to
Mango
those who can,
chutney.
though.
Yeah, you can put like literally anything in your chow chow you want to. You can cater it. You can change the flavor palette however you want it. You can make it super, super hot. You can make it crazy spicy. You can do it sweet and spicy. It's like my jelly. I make a blueberry jelly, but I make it with habanero peppers. It's called Blue Banero. It is awesome. It's the best jelly you ever tasted in your life. I can literally sell this stuff for like $10 a pint. It's
Take a
crazy.
gallon of milk with that one.
No, you don't, because it's not. But see, the blueberries, the sweetness of the blueberries, it takes like the heat out of the habaneros, but you still get the spice. So it doesn't burn, but you get the flavor. Dude, you put that on a sausage biscuit, that's heaven. Oh, it is so
I
good.
cannot do spicy stuff, man. I'm sorry.
I don't do crazy. I don't do crazy hot. I don't do hot. I can handle spice. I just can't handle the crazy heat. That capsaicin, I need that in my life.
The minute I feel my mouth burning, you better get me a gallon of milk.
So brainstorm with me here for a second. We've got all these. I thought they were wild raspberries, but somebody must have naturalized them here. They're called wine berries, also Japanese raspberries, but they grow wild. So I fenced off the area so my animals couldn't eat them because they love them. So I get these little tiny raspberries, and they're coming up soon. And I want to make some kind of jam out of them. I'm also going to try and make a wine out of them. But I'm wondering, what should I put with those? Like, because I do like the spicy sweet mix. So I'm wondering if I should put some jalapeno maybe with them, or just leave it raspberry.
Well, I did habaneros with the blueberries. I did them with strawberries. I did them with apples. I put them in all kinds of stuff just to change the flavor palette. And the cool thing about the habaneros, they're kind of like the jalapenos. Like they change when you cook them. You know what I mean? It's not like you're just chomping them raw one. They kind of change. So like a lot of the heat goes away, but the flavor and the spice kind of stays. So it's like they work really, really well. Like really, really well.
I still have dried cayenne peppers and dried jalapeno peppers from 2018. And you know, my peppers flop, so I'm gonna have a late pepper crop and a late tomato. I'm gonna have a late everything crop this year.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I'm not gonna stress it. But I was wondering what I could put with those. I can freeze them for a while before I do anything too, you know.
Yeah.
I still have ones frozen from last year because I kind of was miserly with the years.
Yeah. Like the most pain in the butt thing I think I've ever canned is peaches.
Really?
Man, that is a lot of work to do peaches. I mean, because you gotta get the right ones, number one. Then you gotta blanch them, and you gotta like literally blanch them like one at a time, because every time you blanch one, it reduces the temperature of the water. So if you put like 4 in at once, it changes the temperature. So it's a pain in the butt. You do like one at a time, then drop it in a cold sink. You do another one, drop it in a cold ice water sink. And if you do it right, you literally just grab the peach and all the skin falls off. Then you can slice it and put it in the jar. It comes out easy. Slice it, put it in the jar, with your sugar and your water, and you water bath can, and boom, and you got canned peaches.
Wow.
But if
So
you
do
mess
you
up
think?
and you don't get blanching thing right, you've literally got to peel every peach, and it's like peeling a tomato with a butter knife. I mean, it is a pain in the butt, and it takes hours.
So
But
that
when you
sounds
spend
like, do you think it would be similar to like if you did apricots?
yeah, I would think that would be very, very similar. But I did my own peaches, and they were delicious.
That's kind of thought.
Huh?
You know how some people put their tomatoes, and I do this, put their tomatoes in a freezer, and then they take them out and let them thaw, and they just pull that peel right off. I wonder if that would work for peaches.
I don't know. It's worth a shot.
Half Acre Homestead did that doing sauce, right?
What?
No, taking the peel off the tomatoes.
So you freeze them and then you dunk them and you take them from the freezer and just put them in ice cold water and the peels come right off.
You probably wouldn't have the same texture though. Like it would probably have to be something to smash.
Yeah, you gotta cut an X in it, and then they just come right out in the bottom, and the skin just comes right off.
It works.
I mean, the thing about peeling a peach skin is like literally like the thinnest thing on the planet. So, I mean, if you're going to take a knife to it and peel it, you're like wasting a lot of peach. I mean, you can just peel them all with a knife if you want to. But you're like greatly going to reduce the amount of peach that you're going to have left. But if you can blanch it just right to where you touch it and the skin just falls off, like I've done peaches like 3 times, and the first time I did it sucked. The second time was a little bit better. The third time I did it, it was perfect. The peaches were the right age. They were the right kind of peach. I blanched them, and like the skin just literally just fell off in the sink. It was like so quick, so simple, so easy, you know. But
So you have to have, it's worth it, but you have to have the patience and time.
yeah. Like if you got nothing better to do and you want to just can your own peaches, you know, because they're expensive to buy canned peaches at the store. If you want to just do your own, it's worth it. You just gotta. It's a little. The process to doing peaches, all the work is up front. I mean, then you just water bath them for 10 minutes and you're done. So it's like, man, all this build up, and that was just like a crazy non-climactic letdown to a water bathing process. But like with peaches and jellies, all the work is up front. I mean, there is no work in the process. It's like 10 minutes and you're done.
Oh, hey, Northern Girl Hobbies.
Hey, Northern Girl.
Northern Girl, what's going on?
She is one of my favorite people. Oh, no, I can't see a chat.
Like the pictures you posted earlier today on YouTube.
Oh, good.
All right, I'm gonna go to the little boys' room and I'll be right back.
Okay.
See, all this talk about peaches is killing me because I have 3 peach trees on our property, and I don't get a single dang peach off of any single one.
Oh wow.
There's some kind of moth that overwinters in the branches, and then it lays its eggs on the peach, and the larvae end up sucking the life out of all the peaches, and they fall before they're ever good. I mean, I know with good management I could make it better, but I'm so overwhelmed as it is. I don't have time to baby trees. Maybe one day.
The more I hear about what you can, in my mind, I'm going to become a mad scientist with this.
Oh God, help me.
Do it, Chris. Do it.
Now that I can hear that you can canned peaches.
I didn't even know you liked peaches. You don't like anything. I didn't know you liked peaches. I would have bought you peaches. I'm gonna punch you, I swear.
I usually like peaches in a can, but if you can can them and stick them on a shelf, it'll last a lot longer.
That's Virginia.
Uh-oh.
She's opening the hatch.
Hi, Virginia.
Virginia's gonna be like our resident clean expert after a while here.
All right, got my trusty broken Walmart remover.
That does it every time.
Yep.
Oh, that's right, you broke them last time. That looks beautiful.
Mr. God's here. He's over at 101 too. I told him, I said,
he heard you.
I said, I can't get on because you took over my computer. I created a monster.
Uh-oh.
Even if I'm not canning, I'm hanging out with the canners.
Oh, it looks great, Virginia.
Looks good.
Yep. Look at that water there.
All right.
Clear water. That's what you want.
You can use
Look at
that
that.
like an expert.
Nice.
Look at that.
And you didn't add any water to those, right?
No, I did not.
See,
I
that
didn't
makes
put
it
in
so better.
anything. Yeah. So, yeah, and the canner's totally clean. I don't think I had too much of that siphoning. You can kind of see inside of it there. It's still pretty hot, but
Yeah,
You have nice water in there.
looks good.
I've still got an inch or so of water. And then there are my chicken jars boiling away.
Yeah,
Nice.
baby.
A rock
I'm a
star lady.
professional.
Looking good.
Yeah, they look really good. And I actually
Yep.
put a chicken thigh in the bottom of each one of these, and then I packed legs on top of them. You know, why not? I figure. It's just why not? So, but yeah, I'm going to get out of the hot kitchen, and I'm going to jump down. The laptop doesn't work great with the StreamYard, okay?
Okay.
I may come back on the other computer, maybe not, but I'll be watching, okay?
I'm going to
Okay.
be going to bed,
Gotcha.
actually.
Let's make it prepared.
Prep 101, the preparated
I gotta
separation
go to
tray,
bed
it
too.
comes
I gotta go early. I gotta
you should get two with the canner, one for the bottom and one that goes in the middle if you're going to stack pints. So two should come with the canner. If you don't have one of those separation trays, you can take rings that you're not using and you can put a layer of rings in there and put your jars on top of them. You can put a towel in the bottom. Yeah, you just need something to make sure that the jars aren't in contact with the aluminum on the bottom, rattling back and forth. But I've done it before. I've water bath canned with the rings. I just put them in the bottom of my stock pot, and I'll set the jars on top of that and water bath can to keep the jars from rocking.
I think he's serious about canning with us from all these questions.
He's gonna get his stuff. I think he's serious. He better be.
Oh yeah, man.
Tell him to bring his
Nice to see him up there
adorable
next week when we're doing bacon.
Oh, bacon is the best.
I can't wait.
Yeah, bring your mother-in-law.
If Prepper 101, it doesn't matter whether you find out whether you're the father or not. You're still going to count with us, right?
Yeah. Have your mother-in-law watch the baby and let's can.
If the canner is rocking, don't come a knocking.
Well, listen, guys, I'm going to jump off here.
Yeah, we're gonna head out.
I'm really tired and we got a lot to do tomorrow, but it was nice being here.
Well, thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
No problem, man.
I love you guys, and I can't wait to do next week's.
All right, we'll talk to you this week, and then we'll see you next weekend.
All right.
Thank you guys.
Got it, brother.
Guys.
Love
Y'all
you.
be good.
Bye. Oh, there was a big thump over there. I don't know what that was.
I have about 6 minutes. Before I take my lid off.
Yeah, I got about the same. Mine's down to like 2 psi.
Oh,
Milkmaid, you still got like an hour to go.
well, okay. According to my notes, 'cause I'm a nerd, 11:16, I can turn it off, and then I've got to wait for the pressure to come down, which we all know my canner is a finicky.
Yeah, it'll be
Yeah,
Tuesday
so.
before you can see what's in there.
So we don't have to wait for that at all. But yeah.
I love you, Milkmaid.
Love y'all too. I'm so glad I can't see chat.
Virginia's chicken looked good. It turned out good. Hopefully everybody's does.
Hers looked awesome. I'm really excited about this because if I find chicken on sale, now granted, I would love to just have like the chicken I raise on my own. I was going to get Cornish cross chickens and do like the whole chicken tractor thing. But this year has just been so nuts. I couldn't possibly conceive bringing on another project on top of everything else.
Right.
I'm behind as it is. So next year.
Next year. Well, Southern Belle, do I need to drop the link? You want to come on here with us? We can do your last 15 minutes together.
She is so lovely. Please come up here with us.
I know, I saw her once. She's so beautiful.
Right? Like, she was all shy.
Mhm.
Very first time I went live was on Hutch's channel, right? And we were, like, bantering back and forth in the chat. Like, I'll go up if you go up. And I was like, well, give me a second because I look like Death Warmed Over. So I, like, put on some mascara or something. And I went up, and then she didn't come up with me, and I had a blast talking with Hutch, but I was like, where is she? Like, come on, girl, because I wanted to hang out with you, you know? Not that I didn't want to hang out with Hutch, but I missed her. So I'm really hoping that she does. Bye, Leisha.
Bye, Alicia. Thanks for hanging out.
We'll see you later, Lisa.
Bye, Sherry Leach. Thank you for hanging out.
Nice.
Oh, Southern Belle. You know what? You can show just your cans.
That did not come out right, Susanna.
Oh, okay.
We're going to have to start, somebody's going to have to start approving your comments before you make them.
The moderator on the panel. No, I literally thought the jars. Susanna, we're on the same page here, girl.
That one was an accident.
That's too funny.
Yeah, you guys might be on the same page. I'm not sure we can say the title of the book that you're reading.
Susanna is one of my favorite people on the universe. I'm not gonna lie.
Yep, Susanna.
She kind of trumps you, Ghost. I'm sorry. Oh, look, he looked hurt.
What happened? What I missed?
I said Susanna trumps you as one of my favorite people in the universe.
Absolutely. I'm still hurt. I'm hurt a little bit, but if you're going to pick anybody over me, I'm cool with you picking Susanna.
It better be Susanna, right?
Yeah.
You know, I love my milkmaid and my ghost and my Virginia. I love you guys. And prep for it too. I know she's down there. Is she still down there?
I'm not sure. I think she may have went to bed already.
Hey, Ghost, I didn't see your shirt. So when you're done, can you show us? Straight out of combat. Yep.
Oh my gosh. My cousin has one that says her boys made it for her.
Yeah.
And it's got a picture of them and it says straight out of Gina.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did they plan that or did it was just innocent?
You know, yeah, they planned it.
Oh yeah. It's really scary when you're.
Mitch have a question?
Huh?
Did Mitch have Emily was asking if Mitch got his question answered, but I don't see a question. How long ago was it?
Maybe she can repost.
Could you turn it off? Oh, here it is. Mitch says, could you turn it off and just let them be until morning? Yeah.
I do, honestly, because my canner takes so freaking long to come down to temp, and I'll touch the jiggler, and it'll make horrible spurting noises. Although I will say the last time I did actually let it come down to 0, and I touched it a couple of times. I was like, F it, and I just pulled the jiggler off, and it made like a suctioning noise to the vacuum, but nothing blew up, nothing shattered, and everything was good, and I pulled all my jars out. Now, they still all pinged or teamed or whatever in the cannon, but all the seals were good, and nothing blew up. So, where can I'm a little bit of a rebel. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
I don't have time to be perfect. Oh, what you doing? We're gonna see some chicken. I'm curious because he had boneless chicken. I want to look at what it looks like because I'm guessing it's going to be kind of prettier than mine will be. Susanna, did you finish yours already?
Yeah, I'm taking them out the counter right now.
Oh, you and Ghost are on the same timeline. Nice.
Yeah, we're synced up. We're in sync.
There you go. I'm behind. I've got 6 more minutes, y'all, until I can stop my canner. But we don't have to wait for mine. We all know it takes forever. Now, I guess I should do a PSA, yeah? If I can find, hold on, I'm going to go look. Because currently my kitchen is a wreck. The parts you see are the parts I cleaned. So this came up while they're doing that on something. You have your your jar lifter, right? And it looks like these would hold on to the jar, right? This is curved, as you can see, and you grab your jar like so.
Right.
Yep.
Not the other way. Although I have seen it done the other way. I can't remember who it was that did it. They did this way. However, I don't think that's as safe. But doable, maybe. But, you know, if you're confused, that's how they work.
Okay, y'all ready to see mine?
Yep. Still in time. Probably lonely, but you know. Nice.
Oh, that looks good.
Oh, that looks really good.
And there's my beans.
So when you do your beans, that's a little bit longer than the chicken, or is that kind of the same processing time? I can't remember.
Same time. Hour and a half. Because I did the boneless chicken, so it was
Oh, that's right.
an hour and a half.
Okay, I'm ready to show mine.
Show your hand, Susanna.
All right, it's all you, Susanna. Whoa,
Nice.
man, yours looks just like mine.
The beans and
Nice.
chicken. You see it bubbling?
I love the bubbles. Oh, yep, see it.
Looks good.
Look at that nice layer of fat on the top. I love that. That's where the flavor is, man.
That's the good stuff. That's some of that good chicken broth.
That's the good stuff. I hope my canner's not too loud, guys. I'm sorry.
Nah.
Oh, it's fine.
Susanna got her cans out. 6/19/21.
It's a little late for spring break, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I better go document this then.
I know, right?
Say what?
You gotta
I better
document
go. Yeah. I actually do though. Ghost, did you know that? I have a
What?
whole journal where I'm printing out all my pictures of all my canning stuff, everything, and I'm putting in what I'm supposed to do, how I'm supposed to do it, how they came out, if I did anything wrong. So far, the only trouble I had was with the potatoes and the siphoning of the water, but that was the only problem I've had so far.
Awesome.
Good
That's a really good
girl.
idea. That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
A
Wish
really
I
good
thought of
idea.
that.
Yeah, so I'm excited because that way I could always look back and see, you know, if I did what I did wrong, I could see how I did it, you know, all that stuff, what I put in it at the time.
That's a really good idea.
That's actually really good idea. I need to do that.
Well, thank you, Prepper101.
Oh, can you please post the comments? I never see the comments.
Oh, fishes and loaves. Yes, I forgot to say that. I did use a little bit of vegetable broth.
Mm.
Nice.
You know what I
made
like
it.
to keep on?
Huh?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
What I like to keep on hand, I'll go grab it and show you real quick. So if I don't have broth on hand, right? I don't really like bouillon cubes. I mean, they're tasty as all get out, but they have a lot of MSG in them.
Yeah.
And that just messes with me a lot. So there's this Better Than Bouillon, right?
Yeah, right.
Which is good, but it's pricey. Now you can get it at Costco. I don't have a Costco membership. You can get like bulk things at Costco for a much better price than you get at a grocery store. But get this. Back in the day, like back in the beginning of our country, they used to take chicken broth or whatever broth, and they would end up like boiling it down and then dehydrating it down to where it was like these bricks, almost like amber, almost. And they would keep it in this tin, and then they would reconstitute it in like the campfire bowl and with whatever they happen to find, or a little bit of like salted meat or whatever. And I can't remember the name of it for the life of me. I'm hoping somebody can tell me. That's
like a really good idea.
What?
That's a really good idea.
Well, I've seen people do it in crock pots, and it's shelf stable. Like, it doesn't go bad. It's dehydrated broth, basically, so you don't have to can. Takes up very little space, and I just thought it would be a fun thing to throw out there for anybody who's interested.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do it now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm trying to remember. 18. I think it's called. Hold on. Sorry, congestion. 18th Century Cooking with John something or other. Fantastic channel. It has a whole bunch of history and cooking and stuff like that. But there was a series that he did where he was talking about that. And I thought that might be interesting. I love that channel just for the fact that they showed how people lived before all of our conveniences.
So I guess you could just like cook it down and condense it and then pour it into your dehydrator and dehydrate it and make it powder.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would work
That's a
too.
really good idea. Then you could just jar it up or put it in a Mylar or whatever you wanted and just take out a spoonful whenever you needed it.
And it wouldn't take up a whole lot of space or jars or anything like that.
It'd be kind of like doing dehydrated eggs, you know?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
I'll look up the link and I'll send it to you, Ghost, if you ever want to do like a video or something on it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I actually have that same one you have, but I used I think it was from Costco, the organic, low sodium, gluten free, no added sugar, no artificial colors or flavors, vegetable broth. And that's what I use.
Well, they have vegetable, ham, all that stuff, but that's something I want to try in the future. One of my many projects I want to try. Yeah,
right.
That's the one, hun. Yep.
Yep, I've got a buttload of chicken broth downstairs, so I might have to just pop open a jar and start experimenting.
I'll send you the link to that. I've seen a couple of them, and it was called oh shoot.
That's a weird name for chicken broth. Oh shoot.
I can't remember the name. I'll find it though, and I'll send it to you. That channel, it cracks me up. It's fantastic. He paired up with a guy who did coal cracker bushcraft. He's in Pennsylvania. Guy has a hilarious sense of humor. I think you'd like him. But they did kind of like a period dress where they were talking about how people cooked over fire and charcoal and all that kind of like bushcrafty survivalist stuff that you would see in that century or that time period. It's really
cool.
entertaining. Great stuff. Now I'll send it to you.
Sweet. Awesome. Yeah, that's what I want to look into. Because it would make up it would free up a lot of jars that are full of chicken broth right now. If I could just go ahead and dehydrate it and make a powder out of it, like you could literally put like it depends on like you figure 1 quart jar, if you dehydrated it, it probably reduces its volume down to like 10%. So you could literally have a case of dehydrated chicken broth in like 1 quart jar. You just vacuum seal it.
At least. I mean, honestly, it could be even more. Now, some of that, I think, some of it might have to do with the gelatin and the, like, depending on how many bones you used or the gelatinous content. I don't know. But, no, not 1870s Homestead, although I do love them. They're fantastic. Rachel is awesome. No, I want to say it's either 17th or 18th century cooking, something like that.
Gotcha.
Oh, I missed that last comment. Sorry, I was trying to think. It's hard to do at this time of night. Yeah, you have to really like reduce it until it's very thick before you can dehydrate it.
It's almost like when we made ghee. Yeah, but get as much steam out as you can and then put it in the dehydrator, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I plan on doing it. I think it would be a fantastic idea because it's more shelf-stable that way, in my opinion, and it takes up less room, less resources as far as jars and stuff. It might take more energy, and depending on what your energy source is, that might,
True. But for storage purposes, and I mean, you gotta figure, every quart jar that you have is like, $1.50. So if you can free up some of those jars to put other food in, why not?
Yeah. Agreed.
That's why I put vacuum sealing a bunch of stuff. I put it all in Mylar.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of vacuum sealing, dehydrating. Like, I really do agree with your whole point about the, I'm all done with the heat on this. It needs to go down now. But I agree with your point on being able to open a can and not have to heat anything or make the smells of cooking in order to just have something readily available to eat. But when it comes to long-term, agreed, Emily, a long-term food storage, I want to be able to have something that's more compact and that I can reconstitute with time. Because water, honestly, I don't think is going to be that big of an issue for me other than animals. So
Good luck with that, EMT.
Yeah. I was trying to speed read. My speed reader's off right now.
No, you don't need any salt for canning bacon. You're very rarely going to use canning salt unless you just want to put some salt in some of the stuff that you cook. I do. Like if it's a meal, like if it's one of my soups and stuff downstairs, a lot of it I already have the salt in there. That way I know I'm getting my sodium intake every time I'm eating, so I don't have to worry about storing up a whole bunch of salt. Now, that being said, I still have a whole bunch of salt stored. But
can I add something to that?
Yeah.
Canning salt basically is a fancy word for non-iodized salt.
Right.
You can use sea salt. You can use kosher salt. You can use a variety of all the different salts. The iodized part of salt, like in your table salt, that interferes with fermentation and it interferes with like the preservation of canning things. That's the only reason they call it canning salt. You can get kosher salt probably cheaper.
That's what I use. I just use non-iodized salt.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the reason
I didn't know that.
yeah, the reason they put iodine in salt was people were getting rickets, which was an iodine deficiency.
I think you just answered that for me.
Oh, there you go. I'm a nerd. I'm sorry.
Not
Don't
a problem.
be sorry.
A proud nerd.
I love it.
It's not scared of cow crap or guts.
Well, guys and girls, or actually it's just girls. All the guys are gone. Well, we got a few guys in the chat. Monty's here. Hey. Stuart.
Love Monty.
Oh, yeah.
And Mrs. Monty.
JS Badger. Well, we're down into the 30s of people watching, so I guess it's about time to shut her down because it will be here for another 4 hours waiting on Milkmaid to open her canner. That thing takes forever to come back down to temperature.
True story. I'll send a picture at some point.
You'll have to show us all your cans, Milkmaid.
Okay. To a certain extent.
All right, so I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us tonight. I think it was an awesome stream. I think it turned out a lot better than most people expected. With the, everybody just kind of went off on their own and did. Well, some did chicken with bones, some did chicken without, some did skin, some didn't, some did beans along with the chicken. I think Susanna and I did that. Yeah. Yeah, it was a good stream. I want to thank everybody for stopping out and seeing us. And please come see us again next Saturday at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central. We are going to be canning bacon. Jess from Keto Homestead with Jess is going to be our guest host and walk us through the process because I have never done it before. She has many, many times, and I have no problem shutting up and learning when somebody else knows more than I do. So that's what's going to happen next week. So hopefully everybody tunes in for that. If you've never canned before or you have canned before and you have the stuff, join us. All you got to do is I'll drop the link, hop up here, and you can join the panel and we can all can together. We got plenty of room for more Canimals. So other than that, thanks for joining us. I'm going to say good night to everybody. Emily's dropping links right now, Milkmaid's channel. Susanna, do you have a channel yet, or are you just still in the stalker mode?
No, I have a channel, and it's mostly gonna be just canning stuff and my journal stuff. So it'll be that.
Monty, so much, brother. That's much appreciated.
I've already subbed.
Thank you very much. Yes, Mitch. Thank you, Monty. Yes, Mitch, definitely get your equipment ready.
Oh, yes. Thank you, everyone in chat. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, guys. It's been great.
Gus, what do we need for food? All you need, brother, is the bacon. You need the bacon, the jars, the canner, and the tools to make it work. That's all you need.
Bacon, bacon, bacon.
It's bacon.
Well, hang on, hold this. I said I appreciate the show, but I can, but never chicken. We need to, Dean. We need to can some chicken with us.
Dean, tonight was my first time canning chicken.
Thank you, Fishes and Loaves. Have a canner. It's on the way. Prepper, he ordered one.
All right.
Woohoo!
So hopefully it'll be here by next Saturday. If not, who knows? Definitely the week after, but if he got it off of Amazon, he'll have it in probably 72 hours. So there's no excuses, 101.
Yeah, we'll be waiting.
There's Emily's link.
Susanna.
Getting famous up in here.
Oh, she was famous long before this.
That's infinite. Infamous
someone,
and
yeah,
different.
someone asked me to do some videos on my fountain pens, so I'm getting ready to do that.
Oh, that'd be interesting. I'd love to see that.
Just a bravo for you all. You are braver than I. Got extra jars tonight. Want to try jam first. So water. Yeah, if you're doing jam, it's water bath. You water bath your jams. It's just, I think it's like 10 minutes. It's no big deal. Very, very easy process.
Hun, you need to come up here and do this with us. Seriously.
No, right? Pressure cooker or the big pot with the lid. You want a pressure canner, not a pressure cooker.
Yeah.
There is a difference.
Right.
You can pressure cook in a pressure canner, but you cannot pressure can in a pressure cooker.
Say that.
Thank you
That's-
very much, Prepper 101.
You want to have a canner.
I just want to hear you say that 10 times fast. That would be fun.
I don't even think I can say it one more time fast.
I was thinking about it. You're like having to think your way through that one.
Fishes and loaves. I have a pressure canner, but I have no idea how to use it yet. Well, what kind is it? Is it All American? Is it a Mirror? Is it a Presto? Because if you have one, all you gotta do is hop up here with us and do it with us. You don't realize that most everybody on this panel never can before until they went live. Susanna did it live for the first time. Virginia Roots did it live for the first time. Dusty Data did it live for the first time with a brand new canner. There's like several people that have done it live for the first time with us here in the last month.
The first time I did it outside because I was scared I was going to blow everything up. No lie. But you know what? Hello, I'm here.
Yeah, we all survived.
Yeah, Amelia, come in with us next week.
That's what, or at least that's my understanding of what this is all about. It's getting people comfortable with the idea of canning instead of being afraid they're going to blow up the house and Kingdom Come, you know?
Yeah. Sandra was the first time. She came with us the first time. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
In chat. It was the wasn't it the ghee, Sandra? Didn't we have a butter issue?
I think she did. I think she did the first one with us.
Did
the
she?
Ghee though, she had some hiccups.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it was Virginia that had hiccups on the first one, and then she rocked it though. She took it apart, put it back together, and it was awesome.
And then candle the next week just to make sure.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing is when people make mistakes, everybody learns from it because then they know what to do when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And all the ins and outs and weird things and questions you think of, but if you can't get
If I can, you can. That's a good slogan. I like that. That's cool.
I kind of like that. That should be maybe t-shirt material.
I know, right?
Stewie's awesome. I call him Stewie just because I love saying Stewie.
At Fishes and Loaves, I'm here to tell you, do not go spend money on a water bath canner. All right. All you need is a pot. All you need is a stock pot. Any kind of stock pot you got can be a water bath canner.
With a lid.
All you need is a pot deep enough to cover your jars. That's it. Whatever size jar your water bath canning, as long as you got an inch of water over the top, that's all you need, and a lid. I use a stock pots that I got from Walmart and stainless steel. That's what I do all my water bath canning in. I mean, you can buy the blue one with the little white dots all over it at Walmart if you want to. I mean, but you really don't need to.
Yeah,
That's
just get
just a
the
marketing
cheaper
gimmick.
one that's gonna do the same job.
I mean, it's literally a pot.
Yeah, it's literally just a pot. I mean, as long as you can bring water to boil in it for sustained 10 minutes, it's going to get the job done. Yeah, I've never canned in a water bath canner. I've always just canned in a stock pot. Yeah, I mean, I can water bath can in my All American if I want to. I mean, all I got to do is just cover the stuff with water and let it boil.
No,
I mean, anything that holds water and that you can boil water in, you can water bath can in, literally. The only reason you need a pressure canner is because you're working at high temperatures and high pressures, and it's got to be a quality made piece of equipment. You're not doing any kind of pressure when you're water bath canning, or nothing that's going to take, where you're going to need a pressure canner. So.
It's very interesting, the two different types of canning, and I honestly wonder if at some point, because I have never water bath canned. I'd like to. I mean, from everything I understand, it's way simpler than this. But I'd like to water bath can at some point when my tomatoes come in.
All you do is put the stuff in the jar, and you put it in the pot, and you cover it with water, and you bring it to a boil, and you let it go at a rolling boil for 10 minutes. Then you turn it off and pull them out. That's it. Boom, done. It's like literally
so easy, it seems.
Yeah. The whole process of getting this stuff ready and in the jar takes 1,000 times more energy and effort than the actual water bath canning process does. It's like it's over. It's like so uneventful, so anticlimactic. It's nothing like pressure canning. There's like dun, 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 Jaws music in the background when we're doing our thing. But with water bath canning, you might as well just have like an opera music playing or something.
Opera music. Oh, Ghost! I'd pay good money to watch you listen to opera.
Yeah.
Actually, you'd probably enjoy it. You're cultured enough, I'm thinking.
Do I look cultured? Like for real? Nah.
It's like an underlying tone.
Ah, got you. Yeah, opera is kind of cool, man. I love the way those massive, like huge people get those little itty bitty baby noises coming out of their body. How does that happen? What does that even happen? What sense does that make? How does that even work? I'm like, what? It's cool. And like they don't breathe. It's like they're singing like noises coming out of their mouth. So apparently they're breathing through their ears or something. Because I can't. Yeah, that's hard stuff, man. Thank you, Fishes and Loaves. Yeah, we have a blast, man. This was just like an off the wall thing. Like I can't even remember how it started. We were talking one night in somebody's live stream. It may have even been mine on one of our prep rallies or something. And I was like, well, I'm just going to do it live. We'll just go live next week. Yeah, I think it was. It was in one of our live streams, and somebody was asking canning questions. And I'm like, well, I'm going to do it next week. And somebody was like, well, I wish I could see you. And I'm like, well, I'll just do it live then. We'll just can live. And all you guys showed up, and we canned live. We canned beans. And it went over really, really well. So ever since then, we do it every Saturday.
We even got Alaska Prepper stuck on here.
Yeah, for 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, I'm not, you guys got me stuck. I can't leave until at least somebody pulls out their game.
Yeah. He emailed me. He's like, I'll pop in and say hello, but I can only stay for a couple minutes. 2 hours later, he's like, I'm not going anywhere till somebody pulls ghee out of that pot.
He's a really personable guy. I really like him.
Cool. I like him. He's really neat.
Some people are kind of big and they're just big. He's so down to earth.
Yeah, big time.
I really loved him.
5 pounds of blackberry jam this week. She just jarred them and turned them upside down in a towel. Does not allow for the ball canning jar, but that's what people do. Yeah, I've seen people do that and people not do that. I just never have. Whatever works, man.
I actually have a book. I can't remember the name of it, but it's about it was written by a bunch of French people about like old preservation techniques. And I'm reading through some of these. I'm like, oh my gosh, botulism, with some of their things. And I probably won't actually use those methods. A lot of like the oil preservation with certain things, like, just me being a nerd, I kind of get how that could be a contamination issue once in a while. But a lot of people do those rebel canning things and they're fine.
People literally right now still do the hot pour method. And I'm like, are you crazy?
The hot pour method?
Yeah. You've never seen that before? There are literally people out there that still do the hot pour method. All it is you put your food in the jar and you boil water and you pour the boiling water in over your food. You put the lid on it really, really quick and it seals. And I'm like, are you nuts?
For low acid or high acid?
Everything.
Oh my.
Yeah, I saw the video that I saw them doing, I believe it was asparagus. But whether it's low or high acid, it doesn't matter because you're still not achieving, you're not having a sustained temperature. You're boiling water in, what is that, 200-degree water? You got to get to 240 to kill botulism, sustained.
And it's funny because, no, sorry.
It doesn't work. It'll seal, but as soon as you pour that 200-degree water in, the temperature drops drastically because you're pouring in a cold jar with cold food. So you're going from 200 degrees down to 120 in an instant. You're nowhere near the temperatures that you need to kill the bacteria. It's people die eating that stuff.
Well, this is why I'm a huge fan of people understanding the entire reason why you would pressure can or water bath can, and the reasoning behind that. It has nothing to do with, well, grandma did it this way and everybody survived. It has to do with the fact that this bacteria is everywhere. And that's not a bad thing. We eat it all the time. Like, we ingest it nonstop. But when we create certain environments that allow it to thrive and produce a toxin, it's not the bacteria itself, which I've tried to explain to my husband a gazillion times, and he thinks you're just talking about
the bacteria. It's what it turns into in that closed environment. It does just like the spices. It goes crazy on steroids.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it produces a toxin. That's why you don't feed infants, children under 1 honey, because there's actually a small amount. That's what Botox is. When people inject their face with that's botulism, that they're actually injecting into the muscles to make them paralyzed so that they don't have wrinkles.
Yeah.
Except now it's affecting your lungs and you can't breathe.
No, thank you. Don't want none of that.
Right. But yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to go all nerdy.
No biggie. My phone's down to 7%, so it's going to shut this show down whether I want to or not.
Okay.
So I'm going to say goodnight to these lovely ladies, the Canimals. Virginia's gone already. Virginia, thank you for everything you did tonight, and everybody else that participated, whether you were on the panel or at home. I appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by, and I look forward to seeing you guys next Saturday. So, goodbye from me.
Bye.
Thank you.
And I'm going to try to get off here gracefully. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Well,